Today with Jesse, on paper, the closest matchup of the remaining 8 teams. Now, for those of you that don't know how this bracket works, it was talked about a little bit by the analysts before we got into our segment here. You do not go home if you lose.
Correct.
There is a lower bracket. The only thing is, if you are Ninjas in Pajamas or Furia and you lose your games, you might go home. They're going to be waiting for this upper bracket to finish. The loser of this game will go down to face off against Ninjas in Pajamas. The winner will go on to face M80.
That's right. That game will be happening later today as well. We got 4 best-of-3 today, the upper quarters and the upper semis, so lots of siege. M80 waiting in the wings for the victor of this game later today. Should be a good one. FaZe Clan Wildcard starting off on Chalet. The desk talked quite a bit about this, but this is, of course, going to be the pick of Wildcard. They played this map twice this stage so far, Parker. Both were 7-2, but one was a win and one was a loss. They beat Cloud9 and then fell to M80 in groups. I think they picked this map just because it's not so common of a map for FaZe Clan, and when they have played it, results have been a little shaky. 3 games this stage, an 8-7 win versus Liquid, then 2 losses to Furia and W7M. So we know that they can be shaky on this map at times. Wildcard are going to hope to exploit some of those weaknesses, and in the operator ban phase, I'm seeing no surprises to start things off. Azami, always banned out on this map. Monty, a common ban as well. I could definitely see a double shield. Focus on Dash, who loves to play those shield operators. There it is. The Blitz gets removed, as does the Castle.
I was actually talking about this with some of the talent yesterday after our matches were done, Jesse, and Chalet has been far and away the least played of all of the maps here in Munich. Only 8 rounds played so far. The next closest is Consulate, which has 33 rounds. So for some particular reason, this map continues to slip through the ban phase for all these teams. They do not want to go to it at all, so finally we will get to see it ourselves. And what a matchup this will be. The storyline is FaZe have won just about everything. They are multi-time major champions. They won SI. They won BR6. I'm trying to think of all the different names because they keep changing the name of all the Brazilian ones.
SIL, yeah.
Yeah. So this is a team that really doesn't have anything to prove at this point. FaZe is a known quantity. They've got incredible players on the roster. You're familiar with a lot of these names. These guys have been around the block. On Wildcard, couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
All they've been to is reload.
Exactly. I mean, they're not a very experienced roster. And this morning, I went down to the hotel breakfast. I had a delicious salmon and cream cheese bagel. But more importantly, I found the guys on Wildcard, and I asked them how they felt about this game. I got to talk with Justin a little bit, the analyst for Wildcard, and I thought he had a really great answer about this game. He said, when we faced W7M, that was the best team we've ever gone up against, and we played amazing. As long as we play amazing once again today, we know FaZe will be another incredible team. We know we can beat them, and that's the attitude you need when you're going up against the world champions.
I mean, every single team that's here is going to be aware of their strengths and weaknesses, but once you make the final 8, the goal is not to just win one match, it's to win it all. And what is the point of competing at this level if you don't think you have what it takes? You need to believe yourself and believe in yourself. Cyber will start things off by taking down Baby Shark, one of the top performers in North America, currently remaining at this event, and that will be a big loss for Wildcard early.
Yeah, it will. Already Kansan hunting for a little more, though. Finds a gap, but can he hit the shots, Parker? It's handy on the other side of things, but missing for now.
And they'll double up on him. Bay on the other side of the board. These 417s going crazy. 3 of them in the hands of Wildcard. The Sens, the Lion, and the Twitch, all rocking this same gun. And with Vitaking gone, that's all your smokes in the ground. They'll also punish KDS and find another as Kansan grabs Handy. Souls is last man standing, and he's down below. I'm not sure what he's going to be able to muster, as he's done some damage to some of these Wildcard players. Still half of the round to go. Spiker getting Diffuser down, and Souls is on the wrong floor. No Nitro cell, nothing to really deal with. He'll have to make his way back up those Solarium stairs. And they'll be watched, Jesse. I don't know if he's going to be able to make this out alive. He's got a premonition, but no, Dash will seal the deal. Some Brazilian on Brazilian crime, and Wildcard takes round number 1.
Yeah, tough round there. I mean, he did have good information. He hacked 2 drones playing on the Mozzie in that round, but 1v4 just felt like it was a little bit out of reach coming through from Souls. Excellent entry play coming in from Kansan. Sometimes takes a bit more of a backseat role. You talk about Bay and Shark as kind of the primary entry duo on this team. Kansan a bit more of a cleanup guy. He's really good in those late rounds, but he found a gap. He decided to hit it. Didn't hit every single shot, but he caused causes the distraction so Bay can come in right there with him. I thought it was a great point by Fox on the desk before this game started that it was going to be up to those lurk and anti-lurk players, Cyber versus Bay. Who's going to come out on top? Both of them striking hard in the first round, but Bay just a little bit better.
It really is quite stunning to see how prominent these 417s have been. I mean, they're on meta ops. Twitch, very good if the defenders bring the right amount of gadgetry. Lion is almost always good for most of these teams. Sens has seen a steady amount of incremental buffs that have put now Sens into a position where they're a very strong operator, especially on particular bomb sites. This is usually a great bomb site for Sens as well, but Wildcard swaps off of the operator at the last second. There's some confusion as to what Dash was going to play. Dash was on this carousel where he had Sens and then was thinking maybe Dokkaebi and now will rest on the Blackbeard. That suggests to me that Wildcard, just doing their late calling, have figured something out about this defense very late in the prep phase, and it hope, if you're a fan of Wildcard, that it will pay off.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. FaZe perma-banned Dash in the operator ban phase. They banned his Blitz, they banned his Monty. Dash is the shield guy. And I don't think it's a coincidence that FaZe have so much experience playing against Dash. Of course, most of his career was spent in the SAL. He's played FaZe Clan 11 times in his pro career with 4 wins and 7 losses. So they know him very well. They know what he likes to play. This Blackbeard is going to be the best he's got and probably won't have it for too many more rounds.
And it's his most played operator because they keep banning the shields against him. So he's had no choice but to play a lot of Blackbeard and play a lot of Grim if a shield is not available. And I mean, Blackbeard is obviously a shield operator, but a little bit different deployment than you'd see out of a Blitz or a Monty.
Well, here, of course, top floor is going to be very important. KDS with the same mirror setup they were running in the last setup, but Dash is already in the site, Parker. He's going deep.
Looking for something more. Vidiking gets baited into an engagement. Baby Shark the first to die for Wildcard yet again. They've got one in back bar, and Dash needs to be aware of this, dealing with the Valkyrie. Soul still surviving. It's a calamity inside the site as KDS pulls off a triple. Cans it on the board. It was a rush from Wildcard, and the kills came fast and furious, but they stacked up in favor of FaZe Clan, and Wildcard will now find themselves trailing by 1, but they've done some serious damage to both Souls and KDS. Dash coming within a couple HP points. Health points.
Gotta be careful.
I don't think that's going to be enough, though. KDS is on a heater right now. He's got 4 kills in this round. Only thing that stands between him and the ace is Kansan just out of reach. They trade! He gets the ace from the grave! Yet another, add it to the tally. FaZe Clan on the board as KDS clears out every single member of Wildcard himself.
And that's going to be a huge boost of confidence for KDS. You know, he is one of the best players in the world. Nobody would doubt that, but he's currently the lowest rated on this FaZe Clan team here in Munich, and he's not had the best year. Since winning the 6th Invitational in Boston, he's been negative in every international event that he's been to. Was negative at Reload, went negative at EWC. That's despite the fact that he's been incredible domestically, one of their best players. So it's good to see KDS getting on the board early. He is positive through this event so far, but it is relatively close. +4 KD coming into this game, and that will jump up with the big ace in round 2.
It's a long series, so you cannot tilt. The Wildcard has shown some mental resiliency. For those that are not familiar with the game of Wildcard, maybe you don't watch the NA League, maybe you just haven't watched much of the Munich Major. This was a team that entered on the depth charts as the lowest rated North American team, and yet here they are, still present at the event, while 2 teams on paper that were better than them, both Space Station and Shopify Rebellion, are probably midway home at this point. SSG might already be back in North America. I believe Shopify Rebellion are leaving today. But that's what happens when you actually play the game. We don't play these matches on paper, as we like to remind people. Wildcard surprised everybody by being a strong land team at Reload. Now, Reload was not a conventional event, and I think it's fair to judge it differently and separately from a normal major, because there were a card system present and changes to gameplay that deviated from just what you do inside of the server. It was innovative, but it wasn't just a straight major like we're used to seeing. So I think it's fair for people to say, well, it's hard to tell if Wildcard would be the best team. It's also worth noting that CAG were technically the 2nd best team in that event. So things were obviously not exactly quote-unquote normal. But Wildcard has shown some promise here as a LAN team. Maybe not this round, Jesse, as it's already fallen by the wayside. Souls with 2 kills, Baby Shark slingshots himself into the bomb site and has his hands full with FaZe Clan members well above him. He's got the defuse kit, but the hatch being opened will give him some pause as he could easily try to stick that defuse. It would come down to Dash and Spiker, watching as 4 members of FaZe will be trying to hunt this down. Vidiking now on the board. Down goes Baby Shark. Right back on his shield. Spiker a missed opportunity to tear more strips out of Vidiking. And it's a 4v2 with half the round to go for FaZe Clan.
You gotta really pull this back now if you're Wildcard. Of course, they're pretty separated, these last 2 players, but Spiker wins his one. That gives them an opportunity on site, but without top floor control, Parker, there's no way they're gonna get a defuse kit down. Minute 20 on the clock. They've gotta take that time to pressure these top floor players, then maybe go for a plant later on. It is not an easy task with Souls shutting down that rush right at the start of the round. It's backup plan time once again for Wildcard.
And this is where the clash is going to gain so much value. Vidiking just needs to stand on the stairs and stare at you. There's no real utility that Spiker or Dash have to do much. They're all out of flashbangs. It's not even like their main gadgetry could affect that clash. It really just comes down to whether Vidiking wants to rest his shield down and take an engagement head on. But when you've got Handy and KDS supporting you, even if their overlying numbers have not been the greatest, you're not going to jeopardize yourself by getting off of that shield. Spiker will get spotted from that hole above. Handy punishing him, and now it's all up to Dash in a 1v3. FaZe Clan well positioned to take 2 in a row. A very different story from how they pulled it off last time with KDS getting the ace. Dash will attempt the defuse kit. He's letting that boogie drone use the noise to his advantage. And KDS will save the round yet again. Very different result, or very different way to get there, but the same result for FaZe Clan as they put it together.
Nice little try from Dash with the boogie drone to try to create that noise, but really tough round for them to win. They really had to do something better with that rush, and I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Souls in that round. He was the lone anchor. All 4 of his teammates were playing above him on the top floor, and there's a lot of pressure when you're the solo player on site. When the rush is happening, you've got to be ready for it. Souls was. He killed both Bay and Kansan outside of West Main right at the start of that round. Did not panic when Baby Shark came up that hatch. They eventually do get the trade out, but the damage had been done. Really nice job stopping that rush from Wildcard.
Let's work a little bit more around what Kansan said is perfect. That was in my notes, but like for Master Bomb site, like do the nades. Probably going to start playing more traps because they're so fast. Like do the nades setup. And one thing, guys, play the demos. We're going to get opening queue. This opening queue is going to be the top 5 player, and then the demos, the rest of the players. Demos, the bar player, like play around the demos, okay, for the late rounds after the opening queue. Same for bar. They're probably going to repeat bar room again, opening queue on top 5 player, and then in this case we can be more smart. We can push bomb site or just wait a little bit. Of course, I think like not in tempo is better for this match, at least for the moment right now. We'll get opening queue top 5, start the round. The demos everyone then, okay?
There's spamming Valk. Is IQ or Deimos better for me?
I think like I think Deimos is important, guys. If you guys can feel the composition, even you.
I can play IQ instead of BB.
Yeah, no, one thing is you can play the IQ and then Bay can play the Deimos. One thing, okay? Another thing, guys.
You're kind of.
Big words coming out from Lagonis, the head coach of Wildcard, former IGL and player himself here at the pro level. But I think really important stuff coming to help out the Wildcard guys. Hoping to bring that Deimos out here to try to find some of those offsite players. FaZe have been playing very aggressively. There probably are opportunities to hunt them down with the Deimos. We'd often see Baby Shark taking that operator, but it sounded like Bay was the one who was going to take it instead. That might just be a Chalet adaptation. And indeed, as we load in, Bay is currently selecting over the operator.
Is it one of the top 3 most played operators for Baby Shark, so pass it along, that's fine. I mean, with the way that they're playing it, just in terms of kills, Baby Shark has not shown the same prowess as Bay has. Admittedly, we are 3 rounds in, so it might be too early for us to tell, but Bay is hitting his shots. Baby Shark is using a different set of operators and a different set of tools with how he wants to crack this map.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, I mean, these two have been the backbone of Wildcard since they got to Munich. Both have very similar EPS, 117 for Bay, 116 for Baby Shark. They've both been incredible firing for this team, number 1 and 2 rated in the entire lobby. No one on FaZe Clan even putting up numbers like that. So they've been good so far. This will be their toughest match, and that adaptation being called for by Lagonis could be enough to push them over the edge and get more of these attacking rounds.
It's a breathtaking pace when he speaks during the timeouts, by the way.
Oh yeah, he could be a caster.
Yeah, the amount of words he's able to fit into such a small period of time is really quite impressive.
Coming for your job.
Why my job? Why not your job?
Because you're the fast-talking caster.
I remember the Corn Pop 16 days. Oh my goodness. Kansan stunned by that one. Bay trades it back, but you've already lost your Blackbeard with still over 2 minutes to go. I do not love this for Wildcard, even if they are able to flush out some of that top floor control. Now they almost lose Dash as well, as they'll get Souls on the run. I imagine that hatch has opened up and he's dropped. It sure sounded like it, as the Denari of Cyber is currently being watched by Bay, who's hoping for kill number 2 on the round, and to give something that Wildcard really hasn't had through these 3, which is a numbers advantage.
Yeah, they're really hunting for these picks. They did a great job clearing out Mez. They weren't able to do that previously because they were playing the Mira window up there, but of course, that gets banned out after round 3, so it's a little bit better to clear through that. And now Spiker strikes back. Front door, he finds Cyber, the best player on FaZe Clan statistically in many of their international events. He's going to be removed from this game, leaving just Viking, Handy, and Souls, who have to now retreat back towards the bomb site.
And Cyber is the best rated player here at the event as well, Jesse, but the EPS scores and the kill scores for FaZe Clan are not very high, and that's because of how efficient they've been in their matches. One of the lowest round counts played here at the Munich Major, only 48 rounds played by FaZe up to this point. That is almost nothing. We were casting teams yesterday and the day before that were already in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's almost a full 3 maps played more than what FaZe Clan have. But I mean, hey, FaZe is an efficient team, and they also don't need to play a lot of maps to show people what they can do.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Souls captures his 3rd drone with Mozzie on this game. We rarely see that, so he's been doing great work with that, with those Mozzie pests.
I mean, Mozzie is usually used for area denial, not to actually gain information, but here we are. And Handy will fire back onto Baby Shark. To a 3v3, the advantage that Wildcard had, Jesse, is completely gone, and it looks like a plant is shaping up. Spiker inside the site. There goes the Nitro cell, caught very well by Bay, but the cross over towards Piano was not there. Bay really has to do it all on this round. He got that opening pick. That's all he's going to get, though. Really quite a devastating mid to late round here by Wildcard. FaZe Clan doing FaZe Clan things, looking so strong. And that offense got kick-started by the 5K, the ace that came in from KDS, and since then FaZe have been in full control.
Yeah, it really felt like they were close to winning that round, but it's a game of inches here in Siege, and I think Dash catching that C4 was really the game changer. He was supposed to be the guy pressuring into Piano, could have been the guy to kill Handy, but unfortunately just wasn't there in time, ended up going down. Really good teamwork to see that from FaZe Clan as well. And what I like about this team, what I've always liked about this team, is how smart they are when they re-aggress. You know, they were in the man count disadvantage, Parker, in the 3v4 Chalet, attacker-sided map to an extent. So you kind of need to do something to get that man count back. They did just that, extending on to Baby Shark, aware that he's playing the Piano window. Handy, I believe, 3 kills in that round, and every single one was impactful.
When do we begin to sound the alarms here on this series? Because this is not FaZe Clan's map. So if FaZe Clan continue to run up the score here on Chalet, say they take it 7-3, obviously that's a bad sign going to Cafe, but what is, to you, danger zone on this map?
I think how this half ends is going to be really telling for the whole series, because if Wildcard end up losing this, say, 5-1, maybe even 4-2, I think we're starting to panic. 5-1 in particular feels like, okay, this might just be the FaZe Clan we expected up against a younger team who would be the underdogs in this matchup. But if Wildcard keep this first half competitive, they bring it back to a 3-3, 4-2 again, kind of that borderline. I would expect this to be a competitive series. Wildcard presumably will have some stronger defenses on Chalet as well. FaZe Clan got side choice, so they must think the defense is the stronger side, at least marginally, here on Chalet. So really, I think it's going to come down to that. If Wildcard can get the 3-3, the 4-2, they're very much still in this, but they cannot fall apart now.
I don't know if it's sloppiness on the side of Wildcard or if we have to give credit to FaZe Clan for this, but this is now, I think, the 3rd round where we've seen a drone go in and FaZe Clan immediately gets rid of it, and there's no real follow-up from Wildcard. It will go from bad to worse. You don't just lose a drone, you lose 2 players. Spiker and Dash in the ground. Baby Shark, the next one being watched. No point of damage has been done to FaZe Clan, and there goes Baby Shark. Wildcard have already called their timeout, and they are in free fall at this point in time. FaZe Clan looking invincible so far. Outside of that first round, which Wildcard obviously bared their teeth down on this FaZe defense. Since then, it's been FaZe all the way. Finally landing some shots to deal some damage, but really, there's not much good to say here for Wildcard.
Yeah, I mean, they've got information, but you have no tools to root this guy out, and he wins the fight. Cyber is nasty, man. What are you supposed to do against a guy like that?
They're screaming, by the way. I don't, you can't hear the players. We're sitting right behind the booths, but Cyber was screaming. There's Bay as well to be the janitor, just trying to sweep up those. At least Dash and Lagonis will understand it.
That's true. Dash and Lagonis, of course, Brazilian players and a coach, they will have that little back and forth going through, and it really feels like FaZe have full confidence right now, Parker. They look like they are in control of this match. Even if we didn't see the scoreline, you just watch that round, you know FaZe is a team who feel like they are in full control, jumping out the window in the 5v3, making that a 5v2. Cyber swinging like crazy. I mean, he's doing this because he knows that he's better. He knows that if he keeps playing like this, he's going to get deeper and deeper into their heads. Wildcard need to be strong in this moment. They've got to be resilient with the mental game. They are the single youngest team here by average age. They average just 21 years old, which is insane given how some of these teams, how long some of them have been competing. The average age of Wildcard is younger than every single player on FaZe Clan. Only Kansan and Dash are above 20 years old.
10 seconds to go.
With youth comes inexperience, and with not playing a lot of games comes inexperience. So Wildcard have both of those in spades. I mean, I've probably talked more about this FaZe Clan roster than I have casted Wildcard in my entire life. So
yeah.
It's really quite incredible when you think about it. And a reminder that even if things do go catastrophically wrong for Wildcard, they are not eliminated from this event. We do have a lower bracket for the Munich Major. While today is technically the first day of playoffs, all 8 teams will still make main stage. Some of them will be in more jeopardy than others.
Yep.
The loser of this series goes down to play Ninjas in Pajamas in the lower bracket. The winner moves on to go up against M80. M80, one of those two 3-0 teams that did not drop a single matchup in the group stages. I mean, yeah, I guess you kind of got to do that.
Yeah.
Cyber just ran out the main door because he thought he had a read on somebody by the stairs.
I mean, if Cyber had gotten a kill there or survived, I think that's a huge chalker for Wildcard. It is critical that they kill him. Cyber's the type of guy where he's going to play aggressive, he's going to do stupid stuff, and when he thinks he's dominating you, when he doesn't maybe respect you as a team, you've got to be shutting that down. So an important pick from Wildcard.
Not really much to gain from the regional stats on this map. FaZe Clan up 4-1 would make you think that this is quite a defender-sided map. That's actually not what the numbers show. In Brazil, it skews towards the attackers. In NA, it skews towards the defenders, but barely. This is a 50-50 map. So FaZe Clan just right now dominating with their operator lineup, dominating when it comes to the bans. Souls eliminated by Kansan. And Wildcard's lead will continue to grow after they got that freebie against Cyber.
Kansan once again the lone anchor. He was the really linchpin when they defended this last time, but now everyone's fallen by the wayside.
And KDS's last man standing, a flawless round for Wildcard was on the cards, but Dash gets punished by KDS. Over in Solarium now, watching those kill holes down below, as that's where the bomb site is. But Bay is still upstairs, and yet again, exit frags for Bay. Wildcard managed to salvage the first half by picking up a second round. 4-2's oh so common in Siege, and we see one to start off a very long day today. FaZe Clan, though, primed and ready for this second half as they'll go on to attack.
Yeah, again, that's an important round to get your confidence back a little bit. You're playing against the world champions right now in FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan are playing extremely aggressive. They're playing, frankly, disrespectfully against you. You have to be able to shut them down when they play like that. Really important pick from Kansan in the middle of that round. He just walks through Fireplace, goes through the kitchen hall, and picks off Souls, the one site player in that round. I think a critical moment where they got that two-man advantage. Baby Shark then walked right into a frost map, but he picked himself up and nobody noticed, so it was fine. And now they can move on to defense with at least a 2-round buffer to play with. They aren't going up against that 5-1, and they can start to claw things back, take control of the game once again on this defensive side. My real question, Parker, is are they going to replicate FaZe Clan? FaZe played so confidently in that first half. Can and should Wildcard do the same with jump outs and spawn peaks galore?
I mean, how do you knock FaZe Clan off their stride? FaZe is at their best when you allow them to settle into a match. They are not always a team that bursts forward with a lot of victories. It can take them some time to find their footing, but as we saw throughout much of the SAL playoffs, once FaZe is locked in, it is so hard to shake them from that spot. And that's up against teams that know them very well and is in the most competitive region in Siege. Now, obviously, no slight to Wildcard here, but if you were to look at the remaining teams and say, which of these squads do you think is most capable and most experienced in order to knock FaZe Clan off, Wildcard's probably not one of those teams that you're going to mention.
Yeah.
It's not that they're a bad team, it's simply that they don't have that same level of experience and they don't have that history playing up against FaZe. So if spawn peaks, hop outs, playing far more aggressive on defense when FaZe is not expecting it. If those are things that can catch FaZe off guard and maybe trip them up enough to let them get in their head, maybe close that gap, burn their timeout, I think Lagonis will call that for Wildcard.
Yep, I think you'd be happy with a result like that, but it's really up to Wildcard to make those plays. We've got 4 players up on the top floor. It's just going to be Dash who's playing down below. He's all the way in bar, actually, so a very extended roam. You've got Bay playing that Mez position up top as well, and it doesn't seem like FaZe are so interested in roam clearing, Parker. You see Souls here on the solar window starting to get some drone work in. Cyber's up on the roof as well. KDS in and around this area too. So a lot of these FaZe Clan players look like they just want to go direct to site. They don't seem to care about Dash or Bay out on the roam.
You talked about how Twitch sees so much usage when it was Wildcard piloting the operator. Now we see the same out of Cyber as that drone gets the all clear. And the Osa of Handy can take up even greater space inside of Solarium now that most of that utility is gone. Baby Shark runs right into that Claymore. That is unlucky. We saw that one get sit down even earlier. What did you say? Be unpredictable, right? Wildcard tried to do that. It did not work out. They do have a kill, though, as they managed to dust off Handy, but FaZe Clan are in full control yet again. The other Amaya Spiker trapped inside of Closet, and he's going to have to fight his way out or die trying. KDS will seal the deal, and FaZe are marching their way towards map 2.
Yeah, just smart play from Souls inside of Solar. Gets that Claymore kill to start, and then 2 more frags. And all of those kills, barring maybe the second one, were against players that were pushing into him, right? He had the Claymore, which was a really smart play proactively. He caught the flank coming up the Solar stairs. And it's kind of funny for Souls because he is statistically the worst attacking player on FaZe Clan. He's got horrible attacking stats, but he's their best defending player. And he gets a big 3K on attack here, and you might think, okay, flipping the script a little bit. But when you look at those kills, he's kind of playing it as a defender, right? I mean, his Claymore kill, he's catching a flank. A lot of those frags are when the enemy team are coming to him. That's when Souls is the most comfortable. That's when he feels the strongest, and he played absolutely perfect in this match here.
This is when I bet Wildcard wish they had a timeout.
Yep.
Again.
Yep.
You burned it early, hoping to turn the tides. You were not successful. You only won a single round since then. FaZe Clan have been bullying you all over this map, and it is quite a devastating start from Wildcard on their own pick. FaZe Clan have been impervious to damage throughout so many of these rounds, working very effectively. Souls and KDS have been the story from a fragging perspective. Jesse, as you pointed out, KDS entered as the lowest rated player on his team and has had some rough goes of it on LAN over the last calendar year, but I mean, you're going to take every good game that you can get. Wildcard not very happy with the fact that KDS has just sprung to life. We are 20 seconds in. Vidaking getting diffuser down. He survives the Nitro Cell. Souls dies. Vidaking still in that position. A brawl, and FaZe Clan is coming out ahead. Wildcard down to just Baby Shark.
Jesus.
Oh my God, and it's FaZe Clan to go shark hunting. 6-2. We barely loaded into this map, and we've almost found our way out of it.
Someone's going to have to check the numbers, but that might be the fastest round of Siege that's been played competitively all season. I think certainly the fastest round that I've seen at this event. Incredibly quick from FaZe. They get in, they plant that Fuse kit, and they're letting Wildcard know exactly what they're doing, Parker. I mean, Wildcard were all over the map there. It was a great recognition from FaZe Clan. Bay was in master bedroom. We saw Baby Shark spawn peeking solar window. Dash was upstairs in library. Only really Spiker was on the site. Even Kansan was kind of in the hallway. So when you see such a low site presence, when you see so few players there, why not go for a rush like that? You've already got a 5-2 lead.
I honestly think nerves are playing a bigger role here than we think.
Yeah.
And that's because time after time we go to show highlights of these teams, and you see them completely whiffing what are very routine shots. And I do have to wonder if Wildcard are just in their own head. They understand the expectations, everything that comes with it. It is entirely within the realm of possibility that Wildcard have a good plan and the plan can be executed upon properly. But what's that old saying? Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And FaZe is doing a lot of punching right now, and Wildcard's face does not look so great. So it's entirely possible that they're just letting nerves get to them. Spiker losing that engagement. It was Dash losing an engagement much earlier when he had 2 targets that on a Blackbeard should have been quite routine. When you get to this level of gameplay, you're going to miss some shots. Everybody will.
Yeah.
But with the amount of shots that Wildcard have been missing, I do wonder if nerves are the main culprit here.
Yeah, and I think in a nervous game like this, one that's so important, you need to rely on your veterans, your leaders to step up and get the mental back in check. Kansan, for example, an extremely experienced player. This is his 5th major. The others all coming, of course, with the Sonics back in the day, and so he's got to be a guy to step up for his teammates. They will fall, and it's a 4v5.
That's been the big bright spot for this Wildcard team, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you can hear the church bells in the funeral of Wildcard at this point in time. They're left now with a supporting cast, and the one player that you hyped up, which was Baby Shark, has had some struggles himself, 1 and 7, and he almost got picked. If he'd continued up those stairs into the main lobby, I think that would have been curtains for him and probably for Wildcard too.
Oh, they've had such good information on him every single round. They'll give him the Deathmark track now. They just cancel it as soon as they fire it off, so they know where he is down over towards West Main. The information has been perfect for FaZe Clan. Their drones are so good, and so every time Baby Shark tries to make a move, he ends up getting slammed.
And a run out. Good opportunity for Dash to take down KDS. His position is known. Cyber and Baby Shark hunting each other down now as they've got this main lobby control. They've also cleared out Library, but now the more onerous task, which is to get into the bomb site, sweep up over top of it, and Wildcard have not loosened their grasp above this bomb site. That's the next step for FaZe.
Yeah, take a look at the push right now. We've got most of these FaZe Clan players over towards the Library side. A couple of players are rotating at the moment. Cyber's on the roof, and Souls is moving over towards this bathroom window. So they're diversifying their positioning. They want to get a couple more angles, and part of the reason they're doing that is so that they can catch off these players where they're not expecting them.
And they're sweeping through Piano. That was Dash holding down this position. Baby Shark falls. That's not looking great for Wildcard as they are now outnumbered by FaZe Clan by 1, and the Blackbeard will get ever closer. Dash is caught on this bathroom crossfire. Nitro Cell will go out. It collects onto Souls. A potential saving grace for Wildcard. As it's Kansan now to freeze things out with his Zoto canister. He had no choice but to swing, and now it's Spiker in a 1v3 FaZe Clan. Playing on Wildcard's map, they only let Wildcard have 2 rounds. What a drubbing, as that will be a map Wildcard will be soon to forget. 7-2 the scoreline for FaZe as they now move to their own map, Jesse.
That's not the Wildcard we saw in Swiss, Parker. We've got to see a better performance from them in the rest of the series, or they're headed straight for the lower bracket.
Really just a devastating result for a team that was quite hyped up, and to make it all this way and then fall flat is not ideal. We've got at least one more map between these two teams. We'll be back after this break.
Well, there you go. Our Munich Dachshund is definitely excited, but I gotta say, it's been a lot of woof woof, not a lot of loud ones during map number 1 here on Chalet. FaZe Clan controlling the tempo, as we talked about.
I love that you talk about tempo, because that's what Fox said coming into this matchup, and FaZe does a very good job. And already in round 2, we see KDS start to come alive and talk about setting that tempo. Getting an ace this early on only sets the precedent. Once again, this is FaZe Clan. This is the world champions. If you're Wildcard and you want to overthrow them, you have to be on your A game. You can't let anything slip by. And when I'm talking about letting anything slip by, this was such a beautiful setup, using that Grismod inside the bookshelf to make sure if a shield was able to come through, it was going to instantly be popped open, that shield was going to be exposed. You see KDS go for that swing, instant grab.
And that's what it comes down to when it comes to FaZe. The amount of little utility operators that they swap to, we highlighted it. They don't have one specific entry. They're able to constantly just flex around every single operator. And that's exactly what we saw. Not only the Grismod, but the way that they were able to play once the attack side swapped, it was essentially FaZe's game the whole way through, because they're so dynamic. It's so difficult to understand what they're doing because they have so much depth.
Not only are FaZe putting up a clinic on how to play Chalet, but they're doing it in so much comfort. They're even explaining to us normal human beings there's a strategy that you can play with the Gizmods that are hidden around in library. You can play that in your own games and learn it from the best team in the world, the world champions. But on the other side, it is a tough battle now to recover mentally for Wildcard going into map 2.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, again, this is no easy task. You lost your map pick. It's really going to be a big question now if they have the mental resilience to be able to find that footing, to be able to find the tenacity in them that has got them this far. But the fact of the matter is, it's a best of 3. Anything is possible.
And even though Cafe is more of Wildcard's style of map, maintaining that tempo with the slow speed, and that's not what we saw in Chalet. FaZe was able to run away with it, and this is what we were worried about. So going into Cafe, Wildcard needs to really flex their experience of their veteran teammates, be able to show and shake off those rookie mistakes going into it, and everything that they've been doing throughout the stage, being able to focus on those trades. If they maintain that going into Cafe, they'll be sitting a little bit more comfortably. Map 3 is the worrisome area.
Yeah, Lagotna's here. You see him with the rest of the squad. A Wildcard, he's been instrumental in making sure that that tempo continues, that emotion does not rise too high. He's got a lot of experience in managing that as a player and now as staff. But how do you manage things when you need the entire team to show up? There's 2 players that were really shining in this game, KDS and Bay. How do they rock up against one another?
I mean, we talked about the lurk ability from going into a map like Chalet. The same aspect applies here to a map like Cafe, because KDS was so dominant at being so flexible on the defense, on the attack. And then when you look on the side of Wildcard, Bay was doing his absolute best when it came to attack. But once the side swapped, that's where we saw it taper off. KDS was the one maintaining that managing that lead.
And how do you change that up to kind of work together as a unit on Cafe? Because lurkability is the name of the game on this map.
That's the biggest thing. Everyone has to be coming alive, enabling each other, because when you even look back at the cost from every single person on the side of FaZe, everyone was sitting at 69% cost, outside of KDS being the exception at 78. So if we really want to see everyone, and including Bay, step it up, everybody on Wildcard has to put their foot forward.
And here's again the depth from FaZe, because it doesn't come down to just one operator. We might see Cyber playing the Deimos, which we know he loves. We might see one of the players who's going to be on that entry play the Striker, which is something FaZe will have as that entry player. You use the utility, and then you go in to be able to get those opening kills. So that's the flexibility on FaZe's side.
So far, the testing from FaZe has proven very, very good. But Wildcard on the other side have the test to continue. Maybe they can take it to map 3. Well, maybe Jesse on the other side will be proven wrong. I'll give it over to you guys, and we'll see how map 2 will shape up.
A direct call out for you, Jesse. How do you feel about that?
I feel fantastic, Parker, because it's not Jesse J. Chick on the cast. It's Captain Copium, because I am here to say that Wildcard still have a good fight in this game. Yes, they're playing against a great team with FaZe Clan. Yes, map 1 was one to forget, but this is still a good team. They're here for a reason. Nobody believed in this team to make it into the top 8. Nobody thought they'd beat FaZe Clan, including 85% of you. But that doesn't mean that they're not capable of doing so. I've got 2 reasons to think they could make a big comeback here. Number 1, I don't think the map is that bad for them. FaZe Clan are not a great Cafe team. They're not bad, they're FaZe Clan. But it's still a pretty rare map for them. They've played it twice against Tier 2 teams this season, but every time they've played it against a Tier 1 opponent, they have lost it, including against G2 back at EWC. For Wildcard, they just won against Enterprise 7-5 earlier on in this event, and of course that does give a little bit of recent footage to FaZe Clan. I'm sure that's part of the reason why they picked it, but I still feel like Wildcard have a good opportunity to reset the narrative here. Go on defense, start things off, set the pace your way, and start with a strong lead.
I mean, a strong start is absolutely what's needed here, especially when it comes down to like that emotional and mental fortitude that we've discussed. Yeah, it's a bit of a nebulous term, and everybody's mental resiliency is going to be very different, but younger teams are going to sweat more. For sure. Younger teams are not going to have the same experience to draw from, to pull themselves back from the brink. Yeah. And I mean, right now, Wildcard is staring down the abyss, especially after what happened in map number 1. It was Wildcard's map. They only mustered 2 rounds. Yeah. If you're getting blown out on your own map choice, things are not looking good for you from that point on. You are going to need a big bounce back here, and it's not going to be very familiar territory for Wildcard either. This is FaZe's choice. FaZe are pronounced on this map. They're practiced, and it will be a very big uphill climb for Wildcard.
All of that is true, and Wildcard, they are the inexperienced team coming into this. This is only their 11th international matchup that they've played at an S-tier event. FaZe Clan in the Cyber and Souls era have played over 100 international games up against Tier 1 opponents. So there's a huge discrepancy in the experience. We've been talking about it all day long, and we'll continue to talk about it throughout this game, but it's up to Wildcard to overcome that, and it starts right here on Cafe defense. Will we see any more aggressive plays? I'm not seeing anything just yet. Spiker and Kansan are starting on that main floor with Bay, Baby Shark, and Dash all locking down the top floor as a mining and dining defense, which is a bomb set that, of course, has been very popular over the last couple of years.
All 4 bomb sites on this map will likely see some level of play. This was a map played very rarely over in Brazil. It actually took a long time for it to show up. It was only played a total of 25 rounds, and it was attacker favored, but a very, very small sample size. It was defender favored over in North America, where it had significantly more play. So that should be a comfortable spot for Wildcard as they start on that side. Yeah,
Wildcard going mining, dining first, I think makes sense as well. They were 2-0 when they defended this bomb site up against Enterprise a few days ago, so they're very comfortable on this site. Playing a relatively similar lineup that we've seen too, although I say that, there's definitely some new instruments coming through with Kansan on this Valkyrie, and honestly quite a few different ops. Never mind, I'll take that back. I'm looking at it, it's like, never mind, this is a pretty new lineup.
Cyber in the first contest, but it's Vidaking actually to strike first, and down goes Dash. This is methodical. Baby Shark goes for the vault out, he hits a Claymore. And the snags that have been set up by FaZe Clan, they do just that. They snag these Wildcard players. Kansan on the board. He and Spiker now outnumbered 2-1. This is familiar territory for Wildcard. This was the predicament they found themselves in a number of times back on Chalet, and now to have it happen yet again is devastating here on Cafe.
Yeah, really worrying to see Baby Shark go down to a Claymore very first round. That was his big problem back on Chalet, was every time he made an aggressive move, it was being expected by FaZe Clan. They anticipated every jump out, every flank he made. His very first attempt here on Cafe ends the exact same way. He has got to find some way to be unpredictable.
Oh, a nice shot by Spiker to pulverize Cyber. And one more quick kill from Wildcard can easily tilt this round in their favor. Wildcard started off Chalet with a promising first round, and it was FaZe Clan the rest of the way. 7 rounds after that from FaZe Clan, just to 1 additional round from Wildcard. A good start here is what is desperately needed for this Wildcard team, and they're on the run at this point in time. Spiker was being watched. Now he will find himself over by Dining, taking out KDS in the process. Kansan over by Pillar, now running away as Vidaking is softened up. Down goes Spiker. He looked sure enough ready to save this round, and Kansan will flank around from 90, missing most of his shots onto Handy, who only needs to cover while the diffuser's going down, but Handy gets the kill before the objective can be planted. And FaZe Clan starts Cafe the way they ended Chalet, with a victory.
Tough one for Kansan. You know, he's won those so many times at international stages before, but not able to clutch up the 1v2. With the plant going down for Vidaking, that's a super winnable clutch if he can just find the head of Handy, but Handy is better in that instant. And those little moments are going to be what it comes down to. Spiker, a great job to try to pull them back from the brink, but again, it's that early aggression that just does not go their way. Before the round even started, I mentioned it. Bay, Baby Shark, and Dash. That was the 3-man roam top floor. they really didn't accomplish what they needed to in the early game. They died very quickly. Their aggressive moves didn't pay off. FaZe Clan did a great job of hunting down those players. When you're going up against like Cyber, it's going to be a tough task. He is one of the best entry players in the entire world. World champions for a reason, and that's something Wildcard will have to get better at throughout this series.
When Cyber is on his A game, there are very few players in the entire world who can match his thunder. And if this man starts to settle in, you are in big, big trouble. If you go back to map number 1, Cyber was actually towards the bottom of this FaZe Clan team. But while Cyber was the 4th best player on the team, he was also the 4th best player in the lobby.
Yeah.
104 EPS with a 6 kill, 5 death to give him a +1, and he went positive on his entries, 3 and 1. Those are excellent underlying stats, but everybody was positive on that FaZe Clan roster. So it's not that Cyber did poorly, it's just he wasn't fast enough to get the kills like his other teammates were.
Yeah. And this is going to be another similar lineup we saw from Wildcard. That first one definitely was a change-up. It was something FaZe Clan wouldn't be expecting. This one's relatively similar to the last time we saw them play this defense up against Enterprise. The one exception is Bay almost always plays the Aruni on this site. That, of course, won't be available, so he's gone to the Echo instead, which is a really weird pivot. I definitely could see it working out. Echo's a very strong operator. And it looks like he's going to be trying to support himself with some information, playing inside a cocktail, and he's got some really good intel on the map around him.
Cyber now finding an opening, creeping up down below, but Dash was prepped and ready for that. Nook is a lot of things, but still makes some noise. Noise on LAN is very different, and this is one thing that was actually discussed with a team 2 days ago when we were talking to them after their matchup, where bandit tricking is actually very difficult. And then Leo actually mentioned it on the cast yesterday, where he also said sometimes you literally cannot hear anything.
Yeah.
Your opponents can hear an exothermic charge being put down 2 rooms away, but you, the bandit, sitting at the window, you can't hear it. Oh my. Dash with the vault out, a gamble onto Souls, almost gets him, and now it's a jump out from Cans, and Souls farming kills outside of the building. The defenders need a rude awakening that they should remain inside at all times. And because of that, it's a 3v3 with a little over a minute to go.
Oh, King strikes back, finds Baby Shark as well. I mean, they've got information with these Valkyrie cams, and they want to use them, but it just feels like every time they make an aggressive play, I've said it over and over, FaZe Clan, they're playing really passive. They're really respecting these movements on the attacking side. Night and day difference from their defenses on Chalet. And now every time someone dies on Wildcard, somebody else has to get more aggressive to equalize.
Nice drop from Bay. KDS is gone. Souls is at a single point of HP too, so you're going to have to play a little bit more conservative around this player, especially since he has the defuse kit in his hands, and this is a very powerful position now from Bay. As he hears the sound of King's gun, he'll play that tight angle onto pillars and give himself some concealment as he looks to retreat. Spiker now waiting for Souls or King to wander haphazardly into the site. Down goes Bay at the hands of King. And it's all up to Spiker. Spiker was excellent in the previous round, Jesse. That TCSG can level just about anything. They'll now swing up, takes down King. Nitro Cell goes out. Very little HP for Souls, who has to take matters into his own hands. He sees the foot, and Spiker wins the duel. Souls was playing on borrowed time, and that is a squeaker of a round, but Wildcard will take anything they can get at this point.
And Spiker looks fired up right now, Parker. Back-to-back rounds where he is bailing his team out. The first round, it wasn't quite enough, but that time the 1v2 pays off. Massive play coming out from the young IGL of Wildcard, and his site play has just been incredible so far. It really comes down to the fact that he's the only guy not making some of those aggressive moves, right? Since he has to just sit in the site, he is their hard anchor. He's kind of put in these positions where FaZe Clan have to come to him. And to be honest, both on Chalet and I think through the first 2 rounds here, FaZe Clan haven't really had to come into the bomb site too much. Often it's been Wildcard taking the fight to FaZe. So now if we can start to see Spiker heat up a little bit inside the site, wait for FaZe Clan to push into him, that might be the key that unlocks this defensive half.
Entirely possible. And I mean, it's just 1 round, and you're going to win 1 on either side. So
yep.
It's hard to glean a lot from this. It's also worth noting that Wildcard played a very different style of game this round, right? They brought the fight to FaZe Clan over and over and over again. I don't know if it was a calculated decision based on the way that they thought it would work for their own players. Maybe they thought that it would catch FaZe off guard, and it almost did.
Almost, yep.
If it wasn't for Souls.
Big if.
But both of those plays outside did enough damage to Souls to set Spiker up into a position where it was relatively easy for him to get the remainder of Soul's HP. So that round, you could make a very credible argument, was mostly won in the mid-round by those outdoor plays by the Wildcard defenders.
Spiker hold on to a Nitro Cell right now. He's playing towards the white corridor, so on the window, likely to chuck that out, but white stairs window it is aimed at. Nobody over there just yet to try to receive it. KDS could make a move over. For FaZe Clan, are you going to expect more of these jump outs for another round in a row? It is the top floor bomb site, and sometimes it's a little bit tougher just because you can't really roam on this bomb site because everybody's got to sit in the top floor anyways. Kansan is down below the site on the castle, so it could go for a big flank late into the round, but it's going to be jump outs and it's going to be a Nitro. We called it earlier. Spiker, really good utility play. He starts this game 5-1.
And it is entirely possible that you see a team get aggressive, knock FaZe off, piss them off, and force them to call a timeout very early. Vidaking gets on the board, but Wildcard trades right back. Fox mentioned it, the best team for trades! And Bay reduces FaZe Clan to 1. Handy in a 1v3 by the Humidor. Watched on that bulletproof camera, almost nowhere to go at this point in time. He's got 90 seconds left, so I think he has to hit the reset button here. Take away that intel by shooting the bulletproof camera. And now wonder what the next steps will be. Long range onto the wall, that 417 does great damage to players, but also very good caliber-based destruction as he tries to get one more player on Wildcard to draw themselves out.
He's got really good drones, Parker. He knows where these players are, and because of it, he gets one free pick in the 1v3.
He's got more information now. That's the Tuber around the corner! He had the right read! Just can't capitalize off of it in a perfect swing by Wildcard. The last two players popping up at the exact same time. The coordination from Wildcard over the last two rounds, looking a cut above anything that we saw on map number 1.
Yeah, I mean, a little scary at the end, but no doubt in my mind, that's the best round we've seen Wildcard play all day. They need more rounds like that. They're still able to fight in the early round. It's not like they're waiting for a 5v5 execute 30 seconds to go when FaZe wants to push them. They're getting aggressive with those Nitro Cells. 2 C4 kills. That's going to be huge going forward.
Tá, vamos lá. Pra caçar, as melhores plays provavelmente vão ser as que estão comendo Natal, tá? E não as 3-2. Então a gente vai fazer, tipo, parecido uma comida ali, vai fazer a parada do Blitz. Tá? No geral, pra caçar os bombos do meio. No bombo do bar, eu preciso que tu pegue um Black Beat e continua jogando ele e joga o charuto junto com o Cyber, tá? Porque ou tu acha que tá faltando granada. Ou tu pega a Nomad e o Cyber joga o Black Beat comendo lá pro Natal. Fechou? Então a gente faz, tipo, mais splash lentinho e no bar o KD continua pegando o Ace pra poder jogar 2, pra poder abrir dispensa. E a gente joga com o Black Beat e o Ace dispensa aberta e a Node pra curar a rotate.
Tá. Bora.
Certo?
Bora, só ficar atento aí, guys.
Faz a caçada padrão com o Blitz.
I would like to claim my I was right award.
Okay.
As I said, unpredictability from Wildcard through 2 rounds knocked them astride and make them call their timeout, and exactly that happened.
You were right, Parker. You were right, and it's a great tack timeout.
It is so sweet to hear you say that.
Rafadel deciding it's the proper time to talk to his teammates. Been coach of FaZe Clan since August of 2023. He's seen the highs and the lows with this roster. Of course, FaZe as a 6-man stack, including their coach, have been one of the longest standing teams in all of Rainbow Six. It's been many, many years since a single player has been swapped off of this team, and they've benefited because of that consistency. Now it's time for them to kind of re-lock in and understand what Wildcard are doing on these defenses. Some of them were aggressive, some of them were, again, still fighting in the early game, but not giving their lives up, not going for those jump outs. It's one thing to run into a Claymore in round 1 and lose your life immediately. It's another thing to toss a Nitro out the window. That's a much lower risk play. FaZe Clan needs to be expecting some of those plays. They need to be ready for Spiker on the execute. I'm sure that's something that they're going to be thinking about going forward in the next half.
Wonder if Maria will be able to translate that one for us.
I'm sure.
Unless she's working. Which I'm assuming she is. She typically works when she's at work.
She's a busy woman.
She is a busy woman. Yes, that's absolutely correct. We did take the shuttle in with her this morning, so we know that she is here.
Yes, we arrived at the same time.
We did. Got a long day of matches for you today. Not just FaZe Clan and Wildcard. All of the main stage matches will be played out today. Oh, my goodness. What did we say about unpredictability and bringing the heat to FaZe Clan? Dash eliminating Cyber, who has fallen back down to earth. And Handy found himself in a position where he was especially vulnerable and will get eaten by Baby Shark. Now Dash finds a second kill. A timeout that was called by FaZe Clan. Not paying off. Jesse, are we sure that the map bans weren't swapped here?
I mean, it's less about the map bans and more just about the momentum. It took Wildcard a little bit to get into this, but I think that tack timeout really did help them. Even though it was a FaZe tack timeout, Wildcard are now finally getting value out of their roamers. We see Dash and Baby Shark having big impact for the first time really in this series, making those plays on the roam. Baby Shark in particular, his first kill. And now that they've done the hard work, head back to the site. Let's chill out. 5-man in sight. Yeah, there's a Fuse and a Ram above you. That's maybe two of the best operators to have above a bomb site, but it is a 2v5. I think Wildcard can feel pretty confident about winning this round. They got a Nitro Cell still in the pocket of Baby Shark, a Toxic Babe still from Bay, and a second C4 from Kansan. So lots of utility to deny this plant. The Goyo's likely cleared by the Fuse, but when those do come around, those will be impactful as well.
I haven't really spent much time talking about the amount of recruits that have been played, Jesse. 2 of the 4 rounds, FaZe Clan brought Striker. Sentry's been played on every single round by Wildcard. It was originally in the hands of Spiker, and oh boy, am I just waiting to hear Spiker playing Striker, but we haven't gotten quite to that point just yet. Baby Shark will be running the utility-heavy operator. There goes the Nitro Cell from the aforementioned operator, and King and KDS might get frozen out inside a freezer down below in kitchen. Everybody on Wildcard still upright. King taking even more damage now as he's been forced onto this Fuse shield. The crossfire will kill him. And how about a flawless round from Wildcard? They call their timeout on the side of FaZe Clan, and Wildcard in turn responds with their most dominant round in this series.
One thing Wildcard have done a great job of in that round, and I think throughout this game, is they've been playing off of information. That first opening kill that Dash got onto Cyber inside a pillar all came because Kansan was spotting him on that cardiac sensor of the pulse. I assume it's something FaZe recognized in their tack timeout. They banned out the Valkyrie. They know how good the information can be for Wildcard, but there are other tools available to them, and Wildcard are able to adapt onto those operators. Excellent use of the pulse coming through from Kansan in that round, and then some nice sharp shots coming through from Baby Shark and from Dash. Really cleaned up on that roam game, kept them very safe, and that all comes down to the fact that they just knew everyone's position on the side of FaZe Clan. Information is key in Siege, and it gave the edge to Wildcard in round 4.
Wildcard really does look like a team possessed in this particular map. A far cry from what we saw on Chalet, and again, if nerves really were part of the culprit, at this point you've probably settled into the matchup.
Yep.
Those nerves slowly slide away. The confidence that Wildcard showed back in Reload, on stage 2 results, here on LAN, all of that confidence comes back. And Wildcard are a team that are playing with a renewed sense of vigor, a renewed sense of purpose, and FaZe Clan look a little flustered, which is a bit rare to see for the defending world champs.
Potential spawn peek from multiple players. Baby Shark and Bay both hunting for a head as they look out the window. Doesn't seem like FaZe Clan are giving them the opportunities. We hear the rappel now from Baby Shark. This is a tight angle, and it's really tough sometimes to hit a shot. Does look like Baby Shark is going to fall off. I think it's important that they've been doing so well on the entries this game, Parker. Back on Chalet, we saw FaZe Clan win 7 out of 9 opening duels, and they converted all but one of them. That's not rare. FaZe Clan are the best conversion team here at the Munich Major, winning 90% of rounds when they get the opening pick. Wildcard will be aware of that coming into this game. They know how critical it is to start off with a lead. They've won the last 3 opening duels in a row, and of course have converted every single one of them.
Spiker back on this recruit, so Sentry will be brought yet again. They've been favoring the Impacts and Nitro Cell more often than not, but not this time, and King runs in on the blitz, and he's splattered by Spiker, who's leading the team with 7 kills at this point in time. It was Bay who was the best player statistically, but now Dash and Baby Shark are there as well. Wildcard watching as their reserves now getting in on the fun. With 1:40 still left in the round, FaZe Clan have been reduced to just 2 players, and they are very far from this bomb site.
Again, good information from Wildcard, fully aware of what that push wants to look like. Baby Shark needs to be careful of his positioning, but the Nitro Cells and the good TCSG play coming out from Spiker have seemingly done enough to halt this push. Handy will give it one last go.
And out go the Candelas. Handy doesn't have any remaining in pocket, so instead he will just ascend the red stairs looking for a pick. And right now, good patience from Wildcard, not presenting themselves. Nobody is really upstairs that you can see holding these angles. Very limited value that was gained from FaZe Clan's drones, and they just simply do not have much to work with here. They're going to hope for a small sound cue or maybe some form of mistake. No Candelas, no logic bombs, and they've at least assessed that one is over towards White Stairs. KDS will have his hands full. He gets doubled up on Baby Shark. Kill and Handy now in a 1v4. A 4-2 first half looking very likely, but now it becomes incumbent upon FaZe Clan to get that second round. As 4 for Wildcard is mighty good. 5-1 still within reach of the North Americans.
Yeah, great from Wildcard to be able to read where these pushes are going to come from. They're shutting them down. We did see Kansan once again on an information operator. This time it was the Solus, and that might have given him a bit of a key information that, hey, there's going to be a Ying outside of our mining window. We got to be ready for that. Immediately, Spiker was able to slam Vidiking on that shield. Vidiking, one of the best shield players that we have in the game, can be really good, usually on the Monty, but with it being banned out, he tries it on the Blitz, and his feet do get shot out from underneath him. You talked about Spiker playing on the Sentry so often in this game, Parker, and part of it is no doubt about the utility, but I also think he just loves that TCSG. It was a somewhat recent update that they gave that gun over to Striker, and his pick rate has skyrocketed ever since.
I mean, before she was quarantined, a lot of teams were saying that they were bringing a Rooney specifically for the DMR.
Yeah.
Right? And the TCSG is back because of the scope and because of the damage that it does. The attackers have been favoring DMRs as well, with that 417 seeing a much higher pick rate too. So sometimes you just bring operators because you want to frag. That's just how it goes, baby.
Yep. DMRs are great for players like me, too, who can't hit heads because they just do crazy body shot damage.
What rank are you again?
So I think it's going to be important for FaZe Clan in this round to lock in and find some of these information roamers.
Let me check our 6 stats.
Wildcard.
Let me check our 6 stats. What's your account name?
We're going to see Kansan do his best to try to stay alive, but it's going to be important that they do find him out in this below bomb site position. Top floor is going to be the return site from Wildcard because they played here back in round number 3, so it's loading. Unlocked.
It's loading. You are a gold.
That I am.
I feel like you were very uncooperative when I was just trying to find your numbers.
The information from Bay jumping out of this skylight with the Yokai cam is really nice to be able to just find out how many players are up top. Tells you what guys are up here, but also who's not up here. They do finally shut down the Yokai, but he got a couple of good hops in.
Drone activated.
I was looking to see if there are any DMRs on the side to open up those hatches, but no, they have to burn a Selma instead. That's another benefit to bringing the 417s, is they can pop those hatches really effectively. Caliber-based destruction is something that has been tweaked a number of times over the last couple years, so you bring a 417, you bring the Dokkaebi DMR, any of those things, they can open the hatches with relative ease. This is a gutsy play for Dash to be in. He is safer than you think, but the walls will close in on him, I suspect, very quickly, unless he's gone undrone. No, he'll drop down. Okay, perfect. So he held that B-bomb chassis in the middle of Cocktail, has now vacated the premises. He's not the only player of Wildcard that's down on that middle floor. It looks like there might be another. Hard to tell from the silhouettes. Blackbeard of Vidiking now pushing over towards Freezer. Handy gets cans, and that was the second player down below. Now it's Baby Shark taking a wealth of damage. Dash spotted over on Brown Stairs. That means the math shows only 2 remain on the bomb site. And Spiker's been the big bad, Jesse, and he is still very much on the board. He takes down Vidiking, Bay in on the fight as well. Down goes Soul. Spiker finds another. 10 kills for the youngster. A 2v2 with KDS on borrowed time. Handy softened up as well, both looking to strike from over towards blue. You got a really tight angle now as Spiker is on the ground, super short. He pointed square at the door, and if Handy does not get the angle right, Wildcard could find themselves with an advantage. Handy will creep up ever so slightly. Spiker a third. KDS inside a back bar, working his way towards the bomb sites, but there's a long cross held at a 4K from Spiker. A 5-1 first half for Wildcard on FaZe's map.
I told you he was good with the TCSG, Parker. The super shorty, apparently something I should have been mentioning as well, plays so perfectly in that anchor position as he has from the start of the half to the finish. FaZe Clan were hunting down those roamers. They were worried about the players down below, but they needed to be worried about the site guys. Spiker and Bay stepping up massively in that 2vx to clutch things out up against FaZe Clan. Incredible stuff coming out from Spiker. Once again, the single youngest IGL that we have here at the Munich Major, just 20 years old. At his age, Viking, the IGL sitting across from him, wasn't even in Tier 1. He was playing for Escolina de Bubu down in Tier 2 in Brazil. Escolina de Bubu.
What does that mean?
It has something to do with bodega. Bubu is bodega.
Okay.
But I don't know what Escolina means.
Okay.
Hopefully it's appropriate for broadcast.
What if it's not?
Then this is my last cast, Parker.
It was fun.
It's been fun.
It was fun while it lasted.
It was.
The coaches are allowed to talk during operator bans, by the way, so we were spending a little bit of time listening to the team. Spiker saying, okay, boys, keep it up. Really leading by example on this wildcard team. But you were talking about Brazil. Or maybe you were finished.
I was finished. I was just talking about the history of Viking, and I mean, there was a lot of controversy when he first got added to FaZe Clan. They dropped Cameraman to pick him up, which was one of the most beloved players on FaZe Clan at the time, and I remember the Reddit thread saying FaZe Clan are trolls, they're throwing, who's this Viking guy? He played his first event, it was SI, I think 23 in Montreal, and he didn't do very well, and the whole community was like, drop this Viking guy, he's a fraud. Sometimes the community can be wrong on things.
No. No, the community's always right, I fear. The only real memories I have of Viking in the onset of him coming up to Tier 1 is that he was always so woefully prepared for the cold.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not abnormal to see Brazilians walking around in shorts when it's the dead of winter in Montreal. But Viking was walking around in shorts and flip-flops when it was like minus 25 and there was a blizzard outside. And I was like, I don't know how you have not frozen yet. But I mean, hey, maybe he's superhuman. Maybe that's part of what he does. Viking was middle of the pack in terms of stats. Through the 48 rounds that were played by FaZe Clan, Viking was able to pull off 32 kills with a +6. He was negative on entry, but that is decidedly not the position he plays. If Viking is positive on entry, something has gone terribly wrong.
Usually he's just sitting in a spot on defense and happens to get pushed, and so I mean, he might get into an opening duel here and there, but entry participation, of course, is extremely low. 17% on attack, 13% on defense.
There is a striker on the board, but it's not being played by Spiker. Come on, just give me something here.
Doesn't really play the operator that often.
I know.
He hasn't so far at this event.
I know, but Recruit seeing huge usage now for utility. Also likely enabled by these operator bans. Souls dies, Viking joins next. Bay storming the gates. Dash, the only casualty on the side of Wildcard. As FaZe Clan look to keep themselves in this, they are losing the plot, and they have lost all but KDS, who finds himself as the last player standing, tossling with Baby Shark. Talk about setting a tempo. 6-1 for the North Americans.
And the control that FaZe Clan felt on Chalet has shattered as Wildcard have completely dominated their opponent's map pick. Great push in from Bay, one of the entry players on this Wildcard team. Just dropped the new hatch. He was under the cover of Candelas. There was a lot of noise being played. It was really hard to tell what Wildcard were doing in that push. Very good stuff coming out from the young North Americans, and now FaZe Clan must win 5 defenses in a row just in order to force overtime. It feels like map 3 is almost a certainty at this point, Parker.
Oh, absolutely. Clubhouse, how fitting that our very first playoff match will end on the German map when we are here in Germany.
Was I not Captain Copium at the start of this game? Did I not tell you I'm not worried for a wild card that this would be the game when they bounce back?
It could be Copium. It also could be just blind ignorance.
One and the same, Parker, one and the same.
You are a glass half empty kind of guy.
No, I'm glad my glass is overflowing.
10 seconds remaining.
Half overflowing.
It's too much. You need another glass. It's too much liquid for one man.
Production, can we get another cup? I am soaking wet.
What if it just came back to you in between rounds and you were just completely doused?
That would be unfortunate. That would be unfortunate. This is a cool Denari setup coming out from FaZe Clan. One of these operators that has unlimited creativity just added recently to the game, and of course you can set those tripwires up all over the place. Another hacked drone from Handy, as we saw quickly there on the Mozzie. They've done an excellent job this series of using those Mozzie pests to catch information away from Wildcard, both denying it and gaining it for themselves. By my count, that's the 4th drone hacked in this game.
It is abnormal to that point about how many times Mozzie is getting drones here. I mean, on a map like Cafe, I think it's more likely to happen because you're going to try to gamble that you play the blind spot.
That's a good point.
Right? When you see this little warning on your screen, there is a chance you could jump in an angle where you avoid it. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
And as long as you pass through that little radius, the gadget will grab it, but it is doable. They managed to free the drone, but Kansan dies elsewhere. Cyber is very human stats right now. 2 and 7 is his score line. Bay using a very early death mark to gain information to assist on this entry. And Wildcard's going to need some assistance here, as they did surrender Kansan early, but are in great shape, given the buffer that they have is 5 rounds at this point. Wildcard will need to completely implode for this to go sideways.
Cyber has been misdroned, Parker, and that's the implosion that is impending for Wildcard. This is going to be really bad once he starts to hit his flank. They don't seem to be aware that he's there. Playing just around the brown stairs, and here comes the flank. Freebie for Cyber. Bay will fall.
Information really not Wildcard's strength at this point in time. Kansan walking in, no real knowledge. He dies, you get the Deimos down as well, but there goes KDS, Handy, and Vidiking. Hold on a moment. Cyber has a read onto the fuse shield, so the only player unaccounted for is Souls. Cyber and Souls combining for 6 kills. That's less than half of the kills that Spiker has. Baby Shark now also leveling up. His numbers were quite rough to start. Souls will swing through, take out Baby Shark, and now the fuse will do some work. These isolated engagements leave Dash in a 1v2. Wildcard almost managed to close this gap, but Dash will have his hands full and will have nothing left at all as Souls gets him, and FaZe Clan will find their second round. We could see a 7-2 yet again if Wildcard pulls off the next round, but for the start, FaZe Clan are on the board for the first time in a while. They need to build off this momentum.
Spiker well on his way to be putting up his best performance of the season. A ridiculous stat line, but it's not quite enough in round 8. It just felt like that lack of information in the early game almost doomed them, Parker. It was a nitro cell while Kansan was around mining, which ended up being the opening death. That's a little unfortunate, but the fact they had no information on Cyber was really killer. You don't push brown stairs if you know there's a guy still top floor. And it was a cheeky play. You know, you don't expect that to come out from FaZe Clan, but they're down 6-1. They're going to have to go for cheeky plays to get back into this. Felt like FaZe Clan did a really good job in that 2vx as well. That explosive entry we saw from Wildcard was enough to get the man count back, but then they stalled for just a moment too long. They knew where those players were at, but they allowed Souls to start swinging on them. They allowed Cyber to make his moves towards the front door.
Activating camera.
And if you give FaZe Clan an inch, they will run with it as they just did in that round.
This is not a team that you can allow back into the game. The moment that FaZe Clan are poised and are ready,
5 seconds left.
They can be and have proven this year that they can be the best team in the world. It is not a fluke to lift that hammer over your head, and that's how we started this year with FaZe Clan becoming world champions for the first time ever with a big victory back in Boston. You know they'd love to end the year with a major championship before they set their sights and turn their eyes towards Paris, where the next SI contest will be held. I believe tickets are actually on sale right now if you are listening and are interested.
Go get your tickets. Munich tickets might also still be for sale, maybe?
I'm not sure if it's sold out. I'd heard it was sold out.
Okay, well, they might not be for sale, in which case, sorry.
They might be for sale or they might not be.
Check it out. You will have to get here very quickly. Friday, the games do start with a live audience, and we're all looking forward to that. Both of these teams will be there. It's just a question of will they be upper bracket or lower bracket.
You may have an opportunity, depending on the team that you are a fan of, to see them compete multiple times, even if they lose.
Yep.
The two teams in the lower bracket right now, both Brazilian, Ninjas in Pajamas and Furia. And one of these teams will face Ninjas in Pajamas should they lose. Right now, map 3 looking very likely. Souls gunning one down. Baby Shark will trade that one right back as the Ying screams inside the bomb site. Case not held by any of these players on Wildcard, despite the control that they have. Vidiking will meet Baby Shark's aggression head on as Dash guns down Handy. Vidiking's protection fallen by the wayside. A continue fall away from this shield operator. Damage being done by Baby Shark. Not enough to take him down though, and Spiker is the lone man on the side of Wildcard. The defenders having their day here on Cafe. FaZe Clan primed and ready for their third round, second in a row. Spiker's been terrific. Really a standout performer, but to go up against an Intel-ready team, They've got Valkyrie cameras. The Clash has moved over towards reading, and you know the cavalry will be called as veto makes way for one other player on FaZe Clan to stare him down from pillars. But with a minute to go, Spiker will decide to opt for that top floor as all of FaZe is on the floor down below.
Yeah, this is the right call. He's got to find some angle to get behind veto, that or find the other two players and maybe try to force a plant to get this guy to put a shield down. Lots of time to work with. This is not impossible, but very difficult as the information will fully be in control for FaZe Clan. This Clash will just see him the entire round until finally something ends.
All right, KDS is just waiting underneath this laundry hatch. There's a bit of a feeling here that Spiker might be prolonging the inevitable. On white stairs as these FaZe Clan players are encircling him now, and he's spotted by veto.
Oh no.
I mean, Spiker's just hoping for some isolated 1v1s. Shield is up, abandoned by the Clash. 3 guns all trained in his direction, 2 closer than the other, and FaZe Clan will capitalize off of that. For those hoping for 2 7-2s in a row, your hopes will be dashed as FaZe Clan have now picked up a 3rd round. And even if they do lose this map, we'll have given a better spirited fight than what we saw at a Wildcard back on Chalet. Clubhouse, Jesse, still looking very likely as the tiebreaker, but all comebacks start with 1 round. FaZe Clan now have put 2 together. Wildcard will burn their timeout. Wow, okay, they want to try to triage this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, all good. Just one thing for the bar attack, guys. Remember, we can do the vertical clear. Let's face a little bit. Let's work on the vertical clear, using the demos, use the Dokkaebi, okay? This for bar, you guys already know the deal. And then, like, talk about the execution. As you can Sigurd or Cocktail, okay? For basement, guys, probably gonna do again one thing. We need to play double hard breachers. You playing hard breachers and Dash playing hard breacher, because Shark can play outside garage just holding the freezer drop. Because they play with the freezer. Huh? No, hard. Sorry?
We don't have green.
No, do the same. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Just for basement, play double hard breachers and do the execution freezer like normal. One thing for you, Shark, play the Dokkaebi. Let's play snow door with Jake, Dash and Jake on the snow door. Let's pace a little bit. Let's be a little bit fast on this clear of the map for basement. So Dash and Jake playing snow door with the early Dokka call, please, Shark. Early Dokka call, okay?
Yeah,
and one thing, play the gridlock. Doesn't matter.
You're cut off.
Play the gridlock. Doesn't matter. Some good information there right at the end coming through from the coach of Lagonis. And it's 2 bomb sites in particular he's focused on that whole time, Parker. He starts briefly with the top floor, says you know what to do, go for the vert, play down below. That's not an attack that they've shown so far, so looking to go for a different setup when they go back to the top floor. Then a lot of time on that bottom floor, expecting the kitchen bomb site to be coming out in this 4th quarter. I think this last push was totally fine by Wildcard. It was just a little disconnected. A few of those players lost their duels. We saw Bay entering top floor, immediately got flattened by Souls. The coordination has been there in the executes. The early round, not always there, but the executes have been good for them. They just need to find one more good push to lock down this game.
10 seconds to insertion.
Let's bring up nerves again, Jesse.
5 seconds to insertion.
You find yourself in a very critical round. You will be in this round for 3 more opportunities, technically 2 moving forward. Wildcard can very easily close this one out. They looked so confident. FaZe Clan took round number 1, then Wildcard went on quite the tear, winning 5 consecutive defenses before picking up 1 attack. 4-2 score lines tend to be the most common that we see on Cafe. Wildcard then desperately hoping that's true. Eagerly awaiting for that one to pop up. Was that a Nitro cell that just got tossed up there?
It was Handy's Nitro. He got shot. Quick reaction time coming through from Bay to be able to make sure they don't die to that. That would be the worst thing to happen right after attack timeout, is immediately get slammed. Although I will say, this is not the bomb site Lagonis was discussing in his attack timeout, so we wouldn't expect it to have much of an impact here other than just resetting the mental.
They did also say to play the Dokkaebi, so they picked her, but they've swapped off of the gridlock, so adapting to what their coach told them. The coach is not able to move all of the chess pieces across the board every single turn. You need to rely on your IGL to do that, and that's where the leadership on the side of Wildcard comes in. But to that point about nerves, this is a huge moment. Wildcard will be playing in front of an English-speaking, somewhat English-speaking crowd, because I suspect there will be people who attend who do not grasp the language, and that's okay. That's a lot of pressure, a lot more than what they saw at Reload.
Yeah, big moments coming in here. They had a bit of crowd support thanks to Dash. They'll have a little bit more thanks to Baby Shark, but they've got to focus on clearing these roamers. They don't know a guy's in train. This could be a disaster if Handy gets a pick.
And down goes Handy. Other way around, Dash still in this position. And there it is, Jesse, all of them being toppled. FaZe Clan will have to shuffle the deck after this one, unless Souls can pull off a 1v4, but his job just got a lot harder. Diffuse kit's been planted, 1 kill for Souls. A grenade will go off in front of him, and the Lion of Kansan will seal the deal. Wildcard answer back, stealing FaZe's map away. Both of these teams saying home field advantage is a little overrated. A best-of-1 shootout to determine which of these teams moves on in the upper brackets. Will it be Wildcard? Will it be FaZe Clan? We'll find out in a couple minutes.
Keep an eye out for contact.
Available now.
My, how the turns have tabled. It is time to go into map number 3 between Wildcard and FaZe. But before that, let's recap the happenings on Cafe because somebody was sipping on a lot of tea in here.
Oh yeah, and that tea had to be coming out from the side of Spiker. I mean, we highlighted Spiker going into this matchup, going head-to-head, toe-to-toe with the likes of Vita King and the likes of FaZe Clan. And Spiker, he's stepping up. He is absolutely popping off, leading the charge. And I've said this time and time again, your IGL being the one putting in the performance, leading by example, not just in the calls, but in the frag department, really sets you up. And one of the biggest things that Spiker, I think, really could have done that changed the momentum shift, that changed that tempo, was starting to play aggressive.
Yeah, and it was so important to highlight him because we talked about at the start. I mean, you look at the accolades from FaZe's side as opposed to Wildcard, and they are a very newer team. But the resilience that they showed throughout map 1 going into map 2 and still being able to dominate that decisively, it goes to show that they have the confidence, they have the ability to have things in their favor. I believe it comes down to the maps, essentially. I mean, we talked about them being able to maintain the tempo. I mean, Cafe is a map that they thrive on slowing it down. The slower paced maps is where they thrive on, just being able to focus on those trades because of how small the area to play is.
Back to our pregame where we were both talking about the defense and the performance of Wildcard and how they're setting up the map bans for it, even though they lost their map pick, beating then their opponents of FaZe on our second map. But we'll just remind everybody on what is going on with this matchup when it comes to the macro. One more time, our bracket. All 8 teams will be playing on the main stage. Right now, though, these squads in front of you, FaZe and Wildcard, they're playing to see who can drop down into the lower bracket, maybe face off against Nip or Furia, and of course, to advance and play against MAT. That'll be on the main stage. A hell of a matchup. But hey, there's a lot more to talk about before we get to that point on the stage. And just between you and me, I think that stage is going to look real nice when it's done.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful. But let's focus on Clubhouse right now, the decider, to see who's going to push themselves one step further to that grand final, and then who is going to have to go the extra length. And again, Clubhouse, this is a map where FaZe Clan, I'm assuming, is going to want to start on defense since they had the better half, the better side starting 7-2. And then it does fall back onto Spiker leading that attack, making sure that everything is going to be in sync. Because as we've said many, many times again, Fox, you don't win Club off of defense, you win it off of your attacks.
And that's the biggest fear if you're Wildcard going into it, because you've single-handedly been able to win and make it this far off of your defenses. So you need to make sure that you're able to come out the gate swinging. They managed the tempo. They were able to shut down Cyber down on Cafe so well. If they can go into Clubhouse and are able to, again, manage that over-aggression, get those opening kills, and then focus on transitioning as many rounds as possible once the sides swap, that's the best position Wildcard needs to be in.
Now look, we're hyping up Wildcard, but remember, FaZe on the other side, they smashed and dominated on map 1. Clubhouse is familiar territory to any team at this level. What does FaZe have to do to clean it up here 2-1?
Stick to the basics. Stick to the basic fundamentals of Siege and what Clubhouse takes, and that's just being able to play together. You don't have to over-aggress in these scenarios, especially starting on a defense. You have to allow Wildcard to make that first mistake on their entry and keep playing that trade game down to the wire, where then you walk away with the man advantage no matter the situation, no matter the round. It is all in FaZe's hand to make the least amount of mistakes.
I mean, it's going to come down to the momentum. I mean, yes, Wildcard is showing a lot of resilience, but it's map 3, everything's on the line. You go down to the lower bracket. If FaZe is just able to manage their expectations against Wildcard, and if they get their own 4-2, 5-1 split on their starting side, that crushes Wildcard's hopes and dreams. And even though they are fairly new, that's something that is a very difficult mountain to be able to overcome.
How well do you do on your attacks? That's kind of the MO of every single map, but especially Clubhouse in here. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Our casters are awaiting, our players are set. Let's send it for map 3, FaZe versus Wildcard.
All right, well, thank you very much. Of course, our first matchup of the day goes all the way in Clubhouse, Dubhouse. Very different from a Chalet, very different from a Cafe. Jesse, set the stage of this best of one shootout to determine which of these teams moves deeper into the upper bracket.
Well, Parker, it's what we've been talking about all day. It's probably the least experienced team in the top 8 going up against the world champions. In some sense, it's David versus Goliath, but Wildcard have proven so many doubters wrong just to get here, and if they can win one more map, man, they will be doing it once again. They've had a great series so far, a real bounce back on Cafe. They got to keep that momentum up, and it all comes from the captain. Laxing said it himself. We see that coming through from Spiker, and that empowers the rest of his teams. Spiker puts up the single best game of his season, and it's not particularly close in that last map on Cafe. 174 EPS, beating out his previous best map that he had played in the NAL. That was 134. So really nice to see Spiker stepping up. If he does that again, it's going to be tough for FaZe Clan. I will say on the other side, though, Cyber only went 4-9 on Cafe. Cyber holds the sole record for the most major appearances in Siege. Qualifying to Munich, he was the first player ever to attend 10 separate majors. He does not want to go down to the lower bracket.
Well, what about, I've been to more than 10 majors.
You sure don't count.
That's hurtful.
As a player, I'm of course meaning.
Just very hurtful. That is quite a crazy stat. Cyber enters map number 3, tied with Vidiking as the lowest rated player on his team. Bit of a far cry from the lowest rated players on the side of Wildcard. Despite the scorelines of those first 2 maps, it is far more top heavy on Wildcard's side of things. Spiker, the player that was talked about by the desk and briefly mentioned by you as well, is the only player to break 20 kills in this best of 3 so far. Now, coming into this game, Spiker was the 4th rated of 5 through the group stages and through qualification. So he is overperforming his numbers at this current point in time. A big reason behind that is Baby Shark is way underperforming his numbers. He was keeping pace with Bay at the top of Wildcard, and now Baby Shark finds himself the 2nd lowest rated player of the 10 in this lobby. So, what do you look at of your wild card? Baby Shark needs to show up. On FaZe Clan, Cyber needs to show up. 2 of your biggest guns on both sides have gone quiet. Good news that there's depth here for both squads, but you gotta let the fraggers frag on this important map.
Yeah, and they absolutely could meet each other early in this game. You've got Baby Shark approaching the pool window, and of course, big roam from Cyber up currently in construction. They know how heavy the roam game is. Handy's the first to fall off, but they do have KDS and Strip as well. Cyber top floor, they're not clearing their own, Parker. They're in the site.
They're just trying to barge their way in. And barging is all they'll get done. KDS guns down dash. That's the shield with very minimal support. I think Bay was supposed to be there in tow, but he will not manage to pull it off. Bay has his work cut out for him now at this point in time. Case looking to be retrieved by Baby Shark, but he dies at the hands of Handy as well. FaZe Clan have done very little to protect this bomb site. Look at how many reinforcements they still have alive. They were hoping to bait in this wildcard team, and they will do just that. Another huge round from KDS, leading the team through 2 maps and leading the team already through round 1 of the 3rd.
Maybe the most important point made on the desk before this map was that it's going to be all about the attacks. How well can you go on offense on a map like Clubhouse? And frankly, the attacks from Wildcard just haven't been up to par today. They won 2 attacks on Chalet. They won 2 attacks on Cafe. They need to be doing a little bit better than that on Clubhouse. And so far, that first push, really a little disconnected. I'm okay round 1 going for a rush into site. That's totally fine, especially for the first round. Try to catch your opponents off guard. It was a really heavy roam from FaZe Clan. They had Cyber top floor. They had KDS playing the Scopos and Strip. I mean, they were really extended out on the map, but it felt at the same time quite disconnected from Wildcard. I mean, we see Dash dropping the moto hatch, getting into a gunfight incredibly early, and then once he dies, we look around and nobody's there to support him. One guy main stairs, one guy dirt tunnel, but they're miles away.
I mean, even Bay, who is at bottom of main stairs, you cannot do anything on that Moto Church door because you're held off. All 3 of those panels on the church wall looked soft. there were still 6 reinforcements, I think, on the side of FaZe Clan in pocket. That is absurd. That means you basically got hatches.
Yeah.
And that was really it. And I don't know if Wildcard saw that and said, okay, guys, they haven't reinforced. Let's hit the site. Let's hit the site quickly.
Maybe.
And FaZe swept them away. That could have been a deliberate strategy. But whatever the reason was, Wildcard looked like a team of individuals playing with very limited support. Bay was not able to rotate because he was held by that main hallway. He was held by the church walls, being unreinforced. And this is actually a good learning opportunity for those of you that watch this game and don't necessarily have the same level of experience. Sometimes reinforcing every wall and barricading every door and window actually allows the attackers to get closer to you because they know they're protected. Whereas, if walls are shot out and doors are left open, they have to drone it because who knows what's on the other side of it. Wildcard might have, unfortunately, not done enough legwork before getting to the site.
FaZe Clan have used a lot of their reinforcements, a lot of their utility here on the cache side of the map, but they've really not held on to it for very long. Parker, confident that this can just be a utility game, slow things out a little bit. KDS is on the con door, that's him right now, but we don't see anybody actively holding cache. Might try to play this a bit extended, might try to go for a big play, but at the moment, they're not committed to this.
And that's a full triple reinforcement on that cache wall, the top red. That is something you do not see all the time.
Just get out.
They're deeply entrenched in cache. I remember the days of when you'd run a Kaid and you'd throw those electroclaws around to keep yourself barricaded in there.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the Kaid ban being so prominent on Clubhouse, you have to come up with alternatives. They waste a good amount of time, they get out of there, and they get out of there with everybody still alive.
Yeah, and this kind of has ups and downs for FaZe Clan, right? So you wasted a good amount of time thanks to the utility you spent, and you got everybody alive, which is good. You're happy for a 5v5, but there's not that many spots to play inside the bomb site. Your 5 players are going to be relatively crammed playing inside that site. That's why Handy has dropped down now and why they're willing to play aggressive. Cyber, opening pick onto the Maverick wall.
Clubhouse is not the defender fortress it has been for some time. In fact, in North America, the numbers actually break towards the attackers. Still, you wouldn't know that if you were Wildcard. They are just trickling into their doom. A Nitro Cell almost gets the Dokkaebi. A Baby Shark dash is now down for the count. And this might be an early timeout from Wildcard as the wheels have fallen off. KDS with the exit kill yet again. That's something we've been saying all day. And a flawless second round for FaZe Clan as they're up 2-0.
South Americans certainly in control for now. I don't think it was as rocky as a push as we saw in round number 1. It was a little bit more traditional. They clear through the cache side, even if it does take a bit of time. I think they're just not expecting some of that aggression to come through. That was a really nice swing from Cyber on the main breach to get that pick right there onto Bay. Then it was a Nitro right after that took down a second player of Kansan. And so once you start to lose these hard breachers, it started getting really awkward. They didn't have anybody on the Logi hatch. The jacuzzi wall was closed that whole time. And so it meant that they had no bodies, no real map control. Well, they had map control, but no real angles into the bomb sites and just kind of in an awkward spot to push that one. Wildcard, I don't mind saving the tag timeout. We've seen some teams use them early and then come to regret it later on. I think that the issues they've come across have been easier to fix than some of the other issues that we've seen. Specifically on that bottom floor bomb site, I mean, I think that's a round you just write off because you're not going to do a push like that ever again.
Two unorthodox defenses now from FaZe Clan.
Yep.
And Wildcard have found a little tricky to grapple with. This one looks a little bit more standard, but there is quite an extension down below, and I do wonder if the Castle of Souls will play in that spot for quite some time. The Azami on Rafters is pretty normal. You'll use utility to slow down these attackers to have to fight for Lounge. It will require that they drone it out multiple times. I have to suspect that those mute jammers will be assembled near the castle barricades, which will force the grenades that are in the hand of Bay to be used on that utility, which means they won't be able to flush out the defenders on site.
Yeah, based on current positioning, they might not even care about Rafters though, Parker. They chose not to bring the Capitao and we're currently droning Master, so I think this is going to be a construction side take. It's totally fine to ignore Garage if you get the main breach open and you get construction. Those are kind of the two ways that you can push this bomb site, either through Garage or through Con. Main breach is pretty much a necessity, but they brought proper tools for that. The Maverick and the Ace can certainly do good work. As they've committed themselves to this Master side clear, they won't find any real contest. Nobody on FaZe Clan extending to this part of the map. You mentioned Souls down below in Lounge. Really the only piece of utility, only bit of roam game that FaZe Clan have going on at this point.
They managed to open up that one sheet, and now will just require the soft destruction, but some damage done to Baby Shark will make them know that the jig is up. They know exactly what the plan is here. This is very standard stuff. You cut the top of the reinforcement, you cut the bottom of the reinforcement, it disappears, and back to a soft wall it goes, reverting to a position where a Buck can do just that and tear open the wall, giving you clearer passage over to this bomb site. I really like how quickly Wildcard has asserted themselves, and now I fear for FaZe the walls might be closing in.
Yeah, really nice util play down below. Baby Shark finds the pick on a KDS. They knew they had to do something aggressive, but they were ready for it on the side of Wildcard. They've got great map control all inside of construction. They've got the main wall open. They know there's still going to be a second player down below. They knew it was that castle. Once this main wall gets open from Con, they are ready to go for the execute.
And you were right. They've completely avoided rafters. Now the Selmas can go to work, but there's a mute jammer somewhere positioned that the Maverick did not account for. This might be a small problem for Wildcard to overcome. And yep, that radius will be enough. Cyber now swinging onto one of these players of Wildcard situated outside of the window. Cans in great patience there as another player will get involved. Cyber could actually net both of these kills, but it's a dance with death and Kansan comes out ahead.
Would have been crazy if he got that frag in the middle of the room, but that's enough to send it in the site now.
And 2 down for FaZe Clan. A third will join Vidiking, rushing into Dash, but he's fell to the top of red. Wildcard looking to get on the board for the first time. They've got Diffuser down. Souls up on rafters. He manages to eliminate Baby Shark, but 3 more to be found, and he's in a tough spot. Kansan was huge, not just from utility, but picking up very high value kills on road to Wildcard winning their first round. Only 1 round separates these 2 teams.
Yeah, nice problem solving. We got attack timeout from Wildcard here. Oh, no timeout, my mistake. So then we will just continue on with the game. I think that this is going to be an opportunity for FaZe Clan to reset the momentum a little bit. Wildcard in a strong position now after that big round win. I really liked what they were able to do with it. Obviously, they took that con control, they opened up the main wall. It's basic stuff, but it wasn't easy, right? Even if it is routine. That mute jammer that we saw from FaZe Clan was critical because you can't get it from construction. You usually have to get that jammer from down below, but there was a castle below. Souls was playing that position inside of Lounge, and so it was really tricky for Wildcard to get that. They eventually cleared out the mute jammer as well, so the wall opened up without any problems. I'm not sure if that was from down below or if they tossed a nade in. That can often be a good way to clear that mute jammer too, but every time they encountered an issue in that clear, Wildcard were able to really problem solve nicely, and they got past it without too many problems.
So small delay between those rounds.
It's all right. We did get the Ying and the Bandit banned out, and so this is a routine from Wildcard where they just take down the last operator that's going to keep those walls closed. There should have been no real issues with opening the walls now. FaZe Clan only banning a single hard breacher too, so you've got plenty of options. You don't have to keep running that Maverick. The Maverick kind of got them killed on their Jacuzzi wall execute back in round 2, so they probably won't be running that once again. Could still see it, of course, for the other bomb sites, but I would expect to see a little bit more Ace, a little bit more Habana. Same time, I guess it was pretty good on the CC wall, so if you can find some other way to stop Cyber from peeking your Mav holes, then it should be fine. We go back to the bottom floor bomb site for round number 4 after the site rotation goes through, and this is where I'm hoping we see a new push from Wildcard. It's not going to be the same defense from FaZe Clan. They're not going as extended on the roam as they did in the previous round, so even more reason to not go for a rush like they did last time. Clear out the full map, work with your verticality. The fact that they got Baby Shark on the Buck and a Lion and a Dokkaebi too, I think they'll be taking this a bit more traditionally.
Didn't see the triple panel down below. Did they get the church walls by any chance?
They still have 3 more reinforcements. Heavy presence on dirt tunnel to start though. There's a lot of attackers out there.
This will be a quick one by Dash. Goyo canister will go, so 2:35 on the clock means 2:15 when those flames go away. That will blunt the momentum that could have been gained from rushing through dirt tunnel, and will now put Souls in a position where, against a blitz, I do not love the TCSG as a gun. You have such a narrow target to hit. Limbs don't take the same amount of damage as center mass, and certainly not the same that the head will take if you shoot it. It's a tough fight. I mean, Souls is a great player, and he wins it against Dash.
What?
So I will immediately eat my words, and Jesse, I'll be frank, they don't taste great.
No, that is a rough start for Dash, and it's not great here in the kitchen hatch either. They have to use 3 Selmas to get this open. It's fine. You know, you're only opening 1 hatches and ace anyways, but a little bit of wasted utility there. Tries to find Vidiking, and he does shoot the kneecaps, but it's not enough damage to actually get that kill. FaZe Clan had a little bit of a light roam going on, but it went back to site very quickly as soon as they saw a little bit of dirt pressure. So the top floor is fully cleared out. Wildcard seem to be aware of that and are just looking into the bomb site, but they don't really have any advantage to speak of.
I would have loved to have seen how this came to be with a shield, but for the second time on this bomb site, losing your shield solo bolo with no real help is a devastating loss for Wildcard. There is obviously a broader strategy here that we are not seeing, but it is easy for us to be a bit critical of the way that Wildcard deployed Dash in rounds 1 and now here in rounds 4. Where is the support? How do you get the job done? You just find yourself at a perpetual disadvantage on this bomb site. That will not pay off for any team.
Interesting BP, gets cleared out with no problems. Spiker does get down. I believe that was on the kitchen verticality, so now this gets even more awkward. I think they can pick him up, but it's risky. He's gonna crawl all the way back out to Freezer just so that they can safely pick him up. That's gonna waste even more time off the clock. 40 seconds do remain. Bay's gonna be pushing Oil Pit as that pinch player. Everybody else just working the vert.
And they've pushed these defenders out of their position, which is exactly what happens when there's a ram or a buck or even a sledge on the board. You lose the safety and comfort over top of this site. Spiker has been dropped, Jesse, but he does get recovered. And now the guns will come alive, my goodness, leaving Souls and KDS as the last 2 standing. Baby Shark asserting himself, dealing with just about every single F-Naught on the way. KDS rebuffing Bay's advance from inside of blue, and Souls will now find Baby Shark for added measure. Spiker has no HP left, and yet another round where KDS sends FaZe into the win column.
Yeah, he's been excellent, hasn't he, Parker? Enters this game with a negative EPS, only 97, but it's been looking really good. Here comes the Wildcard timeout.
Can you listen to me? Yeah. Can you listen to me? So just to pause, just cool down a little bit the match, okay, guys? Just sort of think, be careful with the time, okay? They're playing to leave a lot of times, right? All the strategies they play to leave at the end of the day, right? So Jim, I think better than doing the large push, doesn't matter the trigger. I think just do the windows, guys. Let's go direct. Like they're using a lot of halo to counter the shield, so probably doing the windows is gonna be good, okay? Other thing, for cash, you guys can do the rafters if necessary. Just check the triggers, but remember, if the rafters, we have the Captain still, we have the gridlock from Dash, and remember all the plant and the breach, super important. Probably they change the strategies, right? So they can do the extended, and remember to play on the radio window, on the con window to see all the moves on cash, okay? And one thing, you guys can use the ace or shark on buck, but just for me, the pause is just to talk about the time. Make sure, like, play a little bit more careless sometimes, you know, play a little bit more live, drone a little bit more. Let's get more space, okay? That's it, guys. We're fine. Let's go, energy. Let's go. Let's
fucking go, boys.
I really like the attack timeouts we've been hearing so far from Lagonis, the coach of Wildcard. You see there's a lot of information being relayed. Certainly there's some specifics, right? What do we want to do on certain bomb sites? We could take rafters on a CC push. We can plant just inside the breach. There's a lot of those type of bring the Capitao, bring the grid, or whatever you might need. But a lot of it too is more macro, right? Understanding that FaZe Clan are trying to play for the late round. They're trying to extend things as long as possible. They want Wildcard to run at a time. That's exactly what you want your coach to be focused on, the type of things that the players might not be able to catch up on in the midst of the round. They're focused on so many other things. The coach can get a bit more of a high-level picture. Important words to come through to try to bring this half back.
Also worth noting that Lagonis has played against this FaZe squad before.
That's a good point.
Lagonis used to be a player in Brazil for a long period of time, and has, while he's made the rounds, he has literal experience dealing with these Brazilian teams, dealing with them in the cut and thrust as rounds go by. Now, that's not to say that his experience is as entirely relevant as it could be. It's been quite a while since Lagonis was consistently competing at a tier 1 level against the best. The game changes, the meta changes, all that changes, but he still knows what to expect.
Yes.
He can understand. He can understand what's going on as a player while also getting a better vantage point on how to play on a macro level.
As a player, Lagonis has played against FaZe Clan 28 times in his pro career. That's throughout the eras, multiple different rosters of FaZe Clan, but there's no doubt that he is familiar with these guys, so he's going to be one of the smartest people you can talk about when it comes to playing up against FaZe Clan. Gym Bedroom is the next bomb site. Lagonis was calling for a lot of window play, and we see that immediately coming through. The Sens being used to cut off that angle from the CC window. That's always what you're worried about if you don't clear the CC side of the map. Somebody's going to flank you, but with those Sens walls, it can be a lot more protected.
Changing mags.
I mean, I hate to say this, but Dash is the guy to watch. He's been unsupported by this team, sent into his demise more often than we can count. And he plays these high-value utility ops. Both fire arrows used by Spiker now, and look who the first one to die is again, Jesse Dash. Unfortunately, he is not getting anything going. Baby Shark will team kill Spiker, and what a devastating start to this round for Wildcard. Completely forced errors on their point and time, and unforced errors coming in now as well. Cyber, 3 kills to his name, got a leg up because of the team kill, and with a minute 15 left in the round, Kansan inside a cache up against all 5 players of FaZe, slowed by the clash, backing away. He takes down Cyber, which is good. No quad kill to be had for Cyber. Cyber's still in the basement of this FaZe Clan roster as of right now. The lowest rated player on FaZe in this series, but he's starting to pick that one up. Kansan's really just... he's treading water at this point.
Parker, that's probably the least winnable round I've seen in a hot minute.
Did you watch round 1?
I did. That's a harder spot than round 1, for sure. Clash staring at you in the 5v1. Gets a freebie with the air jab, but yeah, that one falls apart right during the execute. They try to jump in. The team kill is so unfortunate coming through at the most critical time. You talk about losing Dash in that round too, right? He was the guy that's supposed to be covering from the windows. Because he goes down, he can't then pop up those Sens walls, so now someone in theory could push you from CC. In the end, Kansan's there anyways, but you got to imagine maybe if he doesn't die, Kansan can go somewhere else for the push. Maybe he's pushing Logi, maybe he's up main. A couple different spots that he could have taken. In the end, it's FaZe Clan's 4th round win, and Wildcard have only been able to win a single bomb site. The good news for them is it was this bomb site. We're back on CCTV cache, so if they can repeat history, it'll be a 4-2 half, but it's always a knife's edge when we get to this point in the game, Parker. Round 6, and you're down by 3.
Droning has not been particularly good for Wildcard, and it's been answered by mute jammers time and time again, and FaZe Clan removing those valuable pieces of Wildcard's assault from the table. Wildcard have also sent players in alone. It's not just Dash who's had to handle things on his own. Kansan has been playing a very solo style. Baby Shark has had a couple good looks where he's been alone as well. But Dash is really, really underperforming what we expect of him. Now, heading into this series, he was the lowest rated player of all 10, and he does tend to play those support and shield ops. We mentioned that in the onset, that a lot of times these bans are targeted directly at him. There is no different from what we are seeing right now. All 3 of the attackers banned out in the previous map by FaZe were operators that Dash plays. They are trying to get rid of the main focus of Wildcard to force Dash into an uncomfortable position so that the rest of the team has to scramble without a shield in front of their eyes or a powerful utility op like a Grim, etc. being on the board. And by completely countering Dash, you are knocking off the entire Wildcard rhythm. It is a great play by FaZe Clan, and Wildcard have struggled to adapt on both map 1 and now here on map 3.
Don't forget, Lagonis called for both the Capitao and the Gridlock for this push. They knew they wanted to clear out Rafters, so it's a different game plan entirely from this team on the bomb site. Wall's been opened up just as it did last time. They need the explosives still to come through. Could use the nade on the side of Dash. Find some other way with the Flores more likely. There it is. Actually not close enough, so we'll try again. There we go. Wall will get open now.
It sticks to walls.
It does. It does. Definitely more effective to use it on the wall than in front of the wall, but you can't use the Flores drone for this clash. It's going to be so annoying from Vidiking. The 2nd round in a row that FaZe have brought this operator.
And they're going to dump utility in. Selmas will now go onto the wall where you usually see a rotate towards Rafters. It's been a powerful position that's been held by many in Azami, and they've got a drone situated on the side of Wildcard, staring as to where the Azami is, attempting to give marks to assist. And that's Dash now being compelled through Oil Pit. He might be able to have a good read here as the Azami of KDS gets flushed out of position. Dash not really able to see much. excellent play by Wildcard. And with a minute to go, maybe a little bit slower than you wanted, but you can very quickly assert yourself on Raptors.
Kan's an incredible Capitao player here on Clubhouse, and that opens the door for them to go for the push just inside this breach. They got to open this up first. They're completely out of Selmas at this point. They do have the Maverick, but it's going to be taking a long time to pop that. Probably just going to have to do your best by making an angle. Spiker will get here as fast as possible, but they're going to have to vault through the window, and that is always a huge risk.
I mean, even a small rotate that you got to vault through is doom at this point in time, especially with the Clash still on the board. They've been given carte blanche to walk on in. The smart glasses are there, maybe a different plant spot, but Handy is just tearing through them. Souls with a kill of his own. Baby Shark and Bay, the only two standing. Baby Shark baited in. Vidaking, exceptional. He was the backbone of that round for FaZe Clan. Wildcard continuing to chase the Clash as he faded away. And Vidaking enabled every player on FaZe to do what they needed to do while the Warden played that sheltered spot. And Wildcard were sent packing every single time they tried to gain anything in that round.
And we go back to the clock, Parker. It was something that Lagonis brought up in the TAC timeout. They want to play for the late round on FaZe Clan and Wildcard because it takes them so long to clear out Rafters because they can't get a breach in through the wall. They've got to jump through the window. It becomes really, really awkward. I loved the smokes they had in that round. They were perfectly placed if there wasn't a Warden on the board, right? I mean, that's the one opera that's going to counter those smokes, and they did a great job blocking off those angles, coverage from the breach, but it doesn't matter when Warden can just see through them and nullify those smoke grenades. It gives Wildcard a tough job in the second half of this game, Parker. They're down by 4 heading into the second half of Clubhouse. If they lose, they'll face an NIP in the bracket on the main stage in the lowers.
Jesse, remind me, where are the teams that NIP has mostly knocked them out from?
NIP have been the NA killers this event, Parker.
G2 made it to the point in this tournament by vanquishing APAC. NIP has made it here by vanquishing North America.
Yeah.
So, what a grudge match that would be should Wildcard end up as their adversary. Wildcard would have an opportunity to avenge both Space Station and Shopify Rebellion, who were sent packing in the last couple days at the hands of the Ninjas. NIP making a lower bracket run from basically day one and will continue in that position.
Yeah.
They will eventually have to contend with the top teams that are getting eliminated and sent down to the lower bracket. Furia is also down there, as Furia also was put into the lower bracket after day one. It was not exactly the start that they wanted, but it's not like we haven't seen lower bracket runs work out very effectively. A lot of SI winners have come from that lower bracket. There's still hope if you're a fan of Ninjas in Pajamas, Furia, and then Wildcard or FaZe, whichever team ends up losing.
Yeah, Furia themselves, SI champions from the lower bracket. They'll play the loser of our next game here on stream. Secret play G2 at the conclusion of this game, but if Wildcard have anything to say about it, that won't be for a while. They need to start mounting this comeback. And on the defensive side, they'll start with a gym bedroom defense going through from them. Kansan on the Frost, a bit of a fun operator. We do see it from him from time to time. Usually on the Frost, sometimes on the Mute on this bomb site. Can mix it up as well. Spiker on the Valkyrie, another really interesting operator that FaZe Clan seem to be aware of. I love that Cyber has been able to pick onto that IQ.
We're going to see the first crack at Wildcard's defense here. This is a repeat of what happened on Cafe. Wildcard sprang out to a 5-1 lead that became a 6-1 lead. FaZe Clan took a couple rounds, but that was it before Wildcard righted the ship and managed to take off, leaving FaZe Clan in their wake. If you're a Wildcard fan, you're hoping for the same thing to happen, but just the inverse. Taking out Vidaking on the Monty is a huge first pick for Wildcard. It was Bay who was able to do that, finding just his second kill. That's a great pinch by FaZe Clan, and they will find yet another onto Dash, who tries to refrag. A good idea, but Dash has not been hitting his shots today one bit, and that will put Wildcard in the hole.
God, they're so committed. Spiker in another gunfight. You're going to be watching his flank if he does try to get back out here. You see them the rotate up above. That's going to be Cyber. Thinks about the hatch, but I don't think it's open, so Spiker gets back to his teammates. That's tough on their own, Parker, because Bay had really done it all. You kill Vidaking. You've wasted half the round. That's a massive play from inside Rafters. Just let him die. It's okay in the 4v4. Dash really decides to get aggressive. He's 1 in 7 after that death. That's a really unfortunate one to lose. Spiker at the same time tries to commit to it. Now, Cyber will step into a frost mat, which is not ideal. Slows them down a little bit more, but with this man count advantage, I still like where FaZe are playing from.
That is a cheeky frost mat, and more people need to play it because teams really do not drone that little landing of red. It is a common spot, so teams should know better, but they don't always know better.
Yeah, I mean, after you've already cleared out Dash, there's no reason to drone it, right? Nobody's expecting just a random frost mat down there.
But it's a really long debuff as well for Cyber, where he makes noise, he bleeds out, and he's incapable of sprinting. Handy dies as Kansan and Baby Shark both drop on the board. They'll also get on the windows, as that's a 3K, or a 2K rather, from Kansan, a 2K from Baby Shark. Wildcard showing signs of life as it all goes bad for FaZe. They did not have proper construction control. They tried to gain window control. They were not able to hop into the building, and every engagement that Wildcard took seemed to catch this FaZe Clan team off guard. Wildcard staving off defeat for the time being. No match point for FaZe just yet, and I suspect this will be a defender-sided clubhouse. I don't think it was just FaZe Clan doing well in that first half. I expect Wildcard to start putting numbers on the board.
Shark did a really good job in that round playing from inside of Gym. An Azami sitting inside Gym on that bomb site is so annoying to clear out. And we do see it pretty often because the defenders have to get banned out on so many other operators. FaZe Clan banned Bandit and Kaij, the two most commonly banned ops, but you leave an Azami up. She is so strong in that spot inside of Gym, and Baby Shark is one of the best players in that position. Huge credit to him in the late round. Huge credit to Kansan as well, stepping up for a couple of big kills in that. FaZe Clan had a man advantage, but when it comes to executing on Gym and Bedroom, it is no easy task. Wildcard still in this game. Now they go down to the bottom floor. Now it's going to be a basement defense, and we'll see a very similar setup to what we saw from FaZe Clan back in round number 1. Bay on this scope post and a very heavy roam up on the top floor.
Remember that dirt tunnel push by Wildcard did not really work out so well, and it looked like a similar setup by Wildcard as they fully extended deep into dirt with those go canisters just to slow things down. Absent a proper shield in the side of FaZe Clan, they will rock the Blackbeard. And they're still scouting dirt quite heavily, a little bit off the pace as to what we saw, and there we go. So this will be a redux. Another shield will go down dirt tunnel. Wildcard trotted this operator out. It was Dash in that position. He lost his duel. Will Vidiking come up empty-handed as well, as now he needs to wait out the flames. So things going about the same as what we had seen when these teams were on opposite sides of the coin.
Yep, very much the same story coming through here on Clubhouse. Wildcard with this roam. FaZe Clan seem like they have to clear it out. I mean, they do just have a little bit of pressure over towards Kitchen. I like this utility that the Twitch is spotting out at this point. Wildcard would have all these Goyo canisters set up to prevent a sort of rush coming down from the main stairs over towards Moto as well, but now it's been cleared out, so that gap does exist, and these Wildcard players have to return back to site. Bay currently playing on the Scopos inside of Memo. As long as the hatch above him remains closed, he can play this position, and you can't really push out of main stairs.
This is the exact same predicament that you saw back in round number 1, so we got a little bit of round 1, we got a little bit of round 4, both happening at the same time. Bay will stare down the position that he was at prior, which was that bottom of main stairs. Ooh. A small ego peek by Kansan, and he does gain some valuable information off of it. Now in follow-up, it's Bay. Handy grabs him, handles that very effectively, and maybe a bit of inexperience right now for Bay, whose numbers continue to be bad on his roll. You need to be a little bit more pronounced. Bay has consistently been the top fragger on this Wildcard squad, but his numbers are underwater and he is struggling against the big guns of FaZe.
Yeah, doesn't need to commit to that swing either. Easily could fall back, could even rotate back up top too if he still had a shield up inside of Rafters, but can't worry about that here. Major coming in and the fire does too.
And it has completely turned the focus of Wildcard towards the execute, but KDS is creeping up through dirt tunnel. Spiker handles Vidiking. KDS will now have to make his presence known. It's got the attention of Spiker as out go the flames. KDS out-dueling Spiker. Baby Shark unsheathing the sidearm, cannot get the job done. Soul's tackling him. Now it's all up to the clash as Kansan and Dash make it work. Goodness gracious me. 2 rounds in a row for this Wildcard squad. FaZe unable to get to match point, let alone put this one away. And the defenders are having their day here on Clubhouse.
And another round where they get bailed out at the end, Parker. It's Dash with some incredible shots. I have to see a repeat of that one. With a quick FaZe Clan timeout.
Fazer caçada. Vou fazer fall garage com montanha. Só que eu só preciso que termite na comp, aí pra terminar a garagem baixo, e a gente vai limpando, tipo, da própria garagem baixo, tá ligado? Flores pra quebrar os castles, tipo, bem lentinho mesmo. A gente vai quebrar os castles, vai matar o cara do lounge lá, entrando pela garagem baixo mesmo, daquele jeito que eu te mostrei. Lembra? No VOD?
Mas quer com montanha?
Isso, e com montanha também. Quem pode fazer você tá ali pode ser o KD pela garagem baixo.
Atrás daquela caixa azul lá?
Agora na...
Isso.
Pra um terceiro.
A gente vai banir mira de terceiro.
Tá, pode banir mira. Mas aí, vamos ficar preparado um pouco mais pra Clash, tá ligado? Vamos tentar trabalhar um pouco mais splitado em todos os mobs. Todo mundo é azul, então tem que caçar a full capela.
Bora aqui, já que você tá de montanha. Mano, eu vou pegar a montanha.
The conversation's gotta be about the executes for FaZe Clan. I think they've been doing really well in their early games. You know, their roam clear has been going expertly for them. I mean, always finding that man advantage before they get to the final push, but inside the final push, there's always somebody on Wildcard causing problems. Again, it had to be Dash in that final one, hitting some brilliant shots from just behind the Clash Shield. That reworked operator a few months ago coming in clutch for Wildcard, and there's a good chance we see that banned out after round 9, but they'll have the opportunity to play her for at least one more round. They opt not to do so. Dash moving over towards the smoke instead for their CCTV cache defense. You can feel them starting to pull this back. Another player who I really want to highlight is Baby Shark. Would not showing up on map number 1. Chalet, he was absent as Wildcard got decimated in the first map of the series. He's come alive, and I think it's been a big part of them coming back in this game.
By the book.
As long as you've got two guys able to frag well, you're always going to be in decent shape. As long as those are not your hardened support players. And Kansan and Baby Shark are the two players who are showing up.
It's okay.
I suspect now from the way that we are seeing roles be swapped over on Wildcard, different operators going into different people's hands. I don't think Bay is going to be in as forward a defender role as what we'd seen previously. While we listen into FaZe's timeout, Wildcard is also given a timeout too. And we didn't get to hear what Laguna said to his team there, so maybe there was a deliberate decision to change some of these things up. Bay could also be suffering through poor confidence at this point in time. And you know from players that we talked about, when you end up in a hole, you tend to be more aggressive and swing more frequently in hopes of maybe starting something. But that desperation can often lead to ruin.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to see Bay on the Mira for this bomb site. Usually if we do see it, it's Baby Shark who will play it from time to time, but it gets banned so often, you just don't see a Mira on this site very often in general, so we'll see what Bay can do with it. Usually he's on the castle. We can see those extensions down below quite often from him. Rafters is the primary focus from FaZe Clan. They've got veto on the Monty, surviving a little bit longer than the last time he tried this. Loads of pressure coming in towards Spiker.
ADS is eating up all of the gadgetry used towards Spiker, as now the fire will go out and the grenade will land. This has been very swift from FaZe Clan. They called a timeout, they talked through the issues, and they spring off to quite the lead here. Half of the round still to go. Nitro Cell will collect one. The Kapatawa Souls was just out of reach, but he and Cyber have suffered some damage. Nice play by Handy. I'm a bit mystified as to how that shotgun blast did not work. I don't even think it might have gone off.
Handy with 2 really big kills in this round. He punished Dash pushing up on red stairs and then finds the player in the basement too. Nice nitro from Baby Shark, but what is it worth? Well, it really comes down to Kansan and Bay clutching up in this 2v4. Bay pushes all the way down the red stairs, Parker. He's relatively aggressive. We'll find just a Flores drone as he goes down here and gets spotted out, but not afraid. Wants to stick around, and Kansan's hunting for a pick as well.
Oh my. Kansan might be able to get it. He sees one cross. He cannot let Vidiking get into position. That is the big problem. If Vidiking gets into position, it's over, and that's exactly what happens. Match point for FaZe Clan as they chew through that Wildcard defense.
Just a couple of moments in that early game not going the way that Wildcard needed it to. Spiker doesn't delay very much time up inside of Rafters. Dash, again, another unfortunate death just over towards red stairs. 3 and 8 in this game after round number 9, and that is not where we expect him to be. Comes in as kind of a support flex player for this Wildcard team. Comes across from South America, a big import. the only reigning major champion still in the tournament.
That is true.
As all 4 of his former teammates on W7M were eliminated just the other day.
For people who might be confused by that, while EWC, Reload, and SI have all transpired since the last major we played in Montreal, none of those are technically majors. Reload was a one-off circuit event. EWC is an independent third-party event, and SI, while it is an S-tier event, is a world championship, not a major. That means the last major we had was in Montreal this time last year, where that W7M team, not the one that you know, the new roster, won the major, defeating BDS. Dash was on that squad. He's no longer playing with them. He came over to North America. They replaced him with Paul Liu. And W7M got sent packing. So they are no longer here. The only Brazilian team that has not made it into the main stage, and they got sent home at the hands of another Brazilian team. So for Brazilian fans, can't really be mad about that one.
No, sometimes that has to happen. The interregional cannibalism goes on, just the way the cookie crumbles, and we've seen that plenty of times here in Munich. Wildcard need to win back-to-back-to-back rounds and overtime just to advance in this upper bracket. Otherwise, NIP await them on Friday. It's going to start with this gym bedroom defense, and you can see them getting aggressive. Baby Shark was making a lot of those aggro moves back in the first 2 maps of the series, and he was usually shut down.
I was going to say, you have to go for something, but my God, Cyber has leveled up. This second half has been his playground. Baby Shark is in the ground, not just losing an Azami, Jesse losing those Kiba barriers, losing that protection that gets stronger over time. Cyber doesn't suffer anything for it, still at full HP.
Bay and Kansan now the only 2 players on this cash side. They committed 3 bodies to this, so now there's still 2 that can try to lock this side down. Plenty of FaZe players still not so concerned by it. They can open the jacuzzi wall, they can work the other part of the map, but you've got to imagine at some point, taking cash control will be on the checklist. Starting to move Vidaking over now, and here comes the retreat. Some of these players falling off. We see one of them retreat back, and just Bay sticking around.
Grenade will go out, pushing Bay back. He finds one. His attention is over towards Red. He has to get out of the area. Good collapse by FaZe Clan. They make that look so easy, but you know how challenging that is to pull off. They pulled back in lounge perfectly right as the swing went out, and then doubled up on that main breach. They still need to get to the bomb site, but they are in such strong place right now for FaZe.
It's really important that Bay gets one, though. That gives this team a fighting chance. A 4v3 is way better than a 5v3 coming out from Wildcard. These last 3 anchors can now sit in on the site. Good drones from Vidaking. They can try to push in through Logi, but it's currently being held by Dash. First Toxic Babe will start to stall that one out. As long as they can delay this push to the last 20-30 seconds, Parker, they've got a really good chance of holding, even with the man disadvantage.
This bomb site really does work for the defenders, unless you've lost all of Jacuzzi in construction, and then it still can work in your favor, but it gets a little bit tight for how many forces you have left. The Blackbeard will complicate matters. Down goes Dash, Spiker, and Kansan now to hold down the fort. They will take another. Kansan going huge at this moment. Spiker doing some damage too, but now it all falls on the shoulders of Kansan, and he's shut down by FaZe. The Brazilians will move forward in the bracket. A date against another NA team of M80 awaits them. Wildcard have one more chance in the lower bracket up against the North American killers of Ninjas in Pajamas. What an affair between these two. Jesse, that's it for this one. Let's hear what the studio has to think.
Well, we got a lot to think about, and really even more to talk about here, gentlemen. As you see, it is done and dusted. FaZe Clan victorious. Wildcard could have had it, but at the end, that tenacity that FaZe has, there's a reason why these guys are world champions.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Fox hit the nail on the head. Coming into this clubhouse, them starting on this defensive half, if they can end it with a 5-1 half, they will set themselves up for so much success once that side swap happened, and that's exactly what we saw. It played out almost to a T.
That's where the level of difference difference when it comes to experience is really displayed when you go up 5-1 on your own side. And Wildcard's in a position where they're winning most of their games off of defenses, so there was a little bit of hope going into it, but with that much of a disparity on the side swap, it's very difficult for you to drag yourself back out of it. And I think that was the biggest issue, because when it comes down to a map like Clubhouse, you can't necessarily just win off of defenses. FaZe is going to be a very formidable attacking team. They were constantly getting the opening picks when it came to Wildcard's defenses, so it put Wildcard in a position where they'd need big rounds, big plays to be able to save some of these rounds, and unfortunately, they just didn't have enough rounds to play with.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's so unfortunate because, I mean, I really have to commiserate how well Wildcard has played. I mean, even when you look back at the Cafe, they changed up the tempo. They played aggressive, but that's the hard thing about Clubhouse is you can't change the tempo so often. You have to be quick to be able to adapt, and like you said, players just being able to just be that spearhead to open up a round. We just couldn't see it happen.
And this was the big tester. We talked about it when we showed the map pool in the very beginning of this series. FaZe had control. They showed that they can adapt against a team like Wildcard that can throw anything at you. And at this point, FaZe are looking real good. Speaking of FaZe, they're standing by with Maria on the call. Maria Bonino, what do you got?
Hey, I'm here with KDS, and yeah, you just made the Wildcard's life a little bit more complicated in the lower bracket, and I want to know if it was part of a plan to bring new stuff, to play maps you don't usually play, try something new.
Yeah, so Café we went to test because we screen a lot in Brazil and in the boot camp, so I think we want to test this and don't work. So I think this is the mistake we made today. Use this best of 3. We are in the upper bracket, so we want to test and don't work. So move on about for AMA, and will be a tough match against them.
Yeah, sure. In a game like this, experience is everything. So what were the moments that you have felt that it really made the difference for you?
I think in the attack side, we are starting to get the kills, and almost we lost some rounds, like the last one. We almost lost, and we are very easy to play. So I think this is the mistake we made. So yeah, this is the mistake.
Okay, thank you so much, and back to the studio, guys.
Thank you very much, Maria, and there it is. The Mapo again confirmed here. KDS is all in the plan.
Yeah, I mean, I said this. I looked at it when I first saw these teams going head-to-head. Once we knew what the maps were, it left me to question, this really is FaZe trying to get into the heads of their opponent, but not just getting into the heads of their opponent, also setting themselves up for success because they're playing some of their least preferred maps, so they don't have to showcase anything. And if you're going to take a risk, you're going to let things get through, try something, now would be to do it, because had they lost here, they would have then found themselves in lowers where they can already nullify and won't have to worry about these maps.
Yeah, congratulations to FaZe, and a very good attempt from Wildcard. I mean, we know their strengths: Skyscraper, Labs, maps like Cafe. If they don't have those maps, then it's a little bit dicey. So Wildcard going forward, that's something to look out for, is depthening their map.